So let me have a look here. I'm just still getting set up. I hope you don't mind. I've got to do a couple of things and we'll be going shortly. Okay, so hang in. So I'm just going to connect with you guys anyway, see what's happening here, make it official. Okay, let's see, let's have a look. It looks like it's going to possibly be a very quiet evening. Okay, so give me a second, we're still setting up here. I'm going to check in with you guys now. There we are. Greetings. Let's see who's here. Oh, we've got Ivona. Hello, Ivona, over there on the East Coast. Hello, Love Triber in Las Vegas. Hello, Heather, up there in British Columbia. How are you doing? Yo, Path Traveler. Good evening over there in Kentucky. Howdy. We are at a very sunny, bright period of the year up in the Northern Hemisphere. It's the Leo season. Hello, JS. I've got your post-it note ready to go. So we'll work on that soon. Hello, Rhonda. Rhonda M. Hello, Rhonda M. Thank you for being here. If you've never done this before, you're welcome to join us. It's pretty simple. If you've never done it before, if you've never done Super Chat before, okay. If you've never had a live tarot reading before, okay. But it is possible here at Tarot Illumination Sunday Night Live, because that's what we do here. Okay, so for example, Rhonda, almost everyone else here you see on the screen tonight, Rhonda, they've been here before, okay? And they kind of know the routine. But for Rhonda, you might not know the routine. So if you can look where you're typing, Rhonda, for example, wherever you're typing, like hello, 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 all of that, there's a little square box underneath with a $sign in it. That's the Super Chat button. And so, for example, if you want to have a reading, you click that little button and up comes like a little window on your device, and you can like enter a debit card or a credit card or something, and then it goes into the magic of Super Chat, and then it shows up here on the chat, so I can see it on the monitoring system, and then I know that someone has booked a reading. Okay? Welcome, Rhonda. You're very welcome to join us and hang out. Please tell us a little more about yourself. Where are you in the world? Heather. Oh, okay. Thank you. The Super Chat just lit up. Yay. Thank you, Heather. We can do that, Heather. Don't you worry. I just want to explain things to Rhonda. So, Rhonda, you can just hang out if you want, just to see how the show works. But if you want to just dive right in, you're welcome to do that as well. Basically, it's sort of one of those things, get in line. And I'll do what I can. I'll see how many readings I can do for the evening. And we just go from there. So we already have a reading booked in advance from JS. I'll show you in a minute. And I'm also going to start booking for Heather. Okay, so we'll show you in just a minute. For example, Rhonda. Hello, Allsun. Hello, JS. Yeah. So, Rhonda, you can see, or you can already see how it works, because Heather just booked a reading, and it shows up in the chat. So it's kind of cool. All right, so here we are. Path Traveler has also just booked a reading. Okay, so we're off to a really super good start tonight. I'm going to make some room over here. So, Rhonda, for example, you've just seen what happens there in the chat. We already had a reading pre-booked from a few days ago for JS. JS just showed up. Okay, JS is here. Thank you, Jennifer. And now, with the magic of Tarot Illumination, we're going to make another post-it note. And this one is for Heather Mocha. And Heather is curious about the subject of love and romance. Okay, so I'm going to put a question mark around that subject. What kind of messages do we have for Heather? And then Path Traveler is basically, tell me what I need to know. Okay, thank you, Path. Thank you for trusting in the process. Okay, we're off to a really great start. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's have a look. Yep. Oh, JS is all ready to sashay away from the full moon. We're only just arriving, people. We've just arrived. So let me give a little bit of a astrology, astrodoodle background for tonight. I won't be able to do anything tomorrow night. I think technically speaking, tomorrow is the full moon, but we're pretty much there as it is already. The moon is already in Aquarius. Let me show you. So I've used this chart already. It's sort of for Leo season. So this is just kind of a mix-up of little bits and pieces for the whole month. Okay. So right now, here we are. This was one of the hot spots I mentioned to everybody, the full moon in Aquarius, which is happening right now. It just started. For example, the moon is right here in Aquarius right now, and by late tonight, early tomorrow, it's going to be right over here in full opposition to the Leo sun over here. The sun is in Leo, okay, and the moon is in Aquarius, so it is a full moon. Full moons are oppositions. They're always oppositions. We can learn a lot about oppositions. Yo, Rhonda. Oh, what's that? Okay. Looks like a Scorpio-Sagittarius combo. Well, that sounds like fun. Okay, Rhonda, here we go. You're very brave, Rhonda. I have to tell you, you are very brave. Rhonda M. Here we go. Questions about a specific love. I'm going to put that in a box over here. And let's just put that over here. His birthday, 11:30. And your birthday, November 7th. There we go. Question marks, question marks, question marks. Thank you, Rhonda. Oh, so you noticed something also. Yes, it's not necessarily a happy chart. Personally, I'm making the best of it. Just because you see a lot of red and orange on a tarot illumination chart does not mean it is an apocalypse. It is not the end of the world. Things will keep going. This too shall pass. So at this very moment in time, the sun is in Leo, even if it's dark outside, and the moon is in Aquarius. So we've reached the full moon. I don't know about you guys, but it's been a very volatile period for myself personally in my life over the last week or so, building up to this full moon. I was fully expecting something kind of turbulent to happen, and it is happening, and I'm dealing with it. And that's just fine. We can grow from these things. So, yes, you did notice there is a lot of red here. So, for example, this full moon, if you just looked at the sun and the moon, there's a lot of reason for festivities. The sun is shining a very bright light on planet Earth right now, and it's time for everybody to rejoice, have fun, and kind of tune into the Leo energy if you can, and see the bright side of things, and just maintain that aura of courage, creative self-expression, giving yourself the right and permission to really shine and be yourself, even if it's scary or you're scaring yourself or whatever. And then what might happen is that you might notice you're getting certain feedback or reflections or reactions from significant other people in your life, perhaps people in very close quarters to you, perhaps like roommates, marriage partners, tenants, close relationships, where there's a lot of volatility that's being exposed. The reason I'm talking about volatility is because Uranus is over here in Taurus, and Uranus represents like spontaneous eruptions, knowledge, awakening, disruptions, and like brilliant, spontaneous awakenings. But it usually happens like on planet Earth right now, because Uranus and Taurus is a very earthy kind of energy. So planet Earth, if you've noticed right now, is convulsing with a lot of heavy traumatic weather events across the Earth, especially in China. You might want to note that China has a very prominent Leo-Aquarius axis. You might want to also note that the United States has a very prominent Leo-Aquarius axis, but it's in different ways. So we did a show about that. But just for fun, I'll show you. Okay? Here is the chart for China. Look at that. Crazy, huh? And China is actually born with a Leo-Aquarius axis. Okay? The moon is in Aquarius, the sun is in Leo. So it's kind of like an upside down chart to what I just showed you, which is this. So inside of China, what's happening is the sunshine of Leo is shining very brightly in its 7th house, which is loaded up with Pluto and Mars, in the house of significant relationships. And I think the sun is showing up how brutal and violent and oppressive that the Chinese Communist Party is being right now. They've managed to get away with it, but I think the world is starting to get sick of it all. And this is in very harsh contrast to the Mars, to Venus and Scorpio right now. Harmony in relationships is heavily conflicted right now in China. And so on and so on and so on. We got other stuff here. Here is the opposition for China. And just for reference, here we go. This is for America. We just came out of some very powerful, Capricorn, Cancer axes. And now we are here in the Leo-Aquarius axis, which again for the United States is highly stressed when you look at the transits. So the United States is in a very highly stressed alignment right now, and it's interesting that for the United States, the sun lights up the United States Leo North Node. The United States is basically being drawn, driven, forced, directed to be a glorious, bright, shining light of leadership and inspiration and hope and courage and bravery and vivid self-expression for itself as a template and a model for free speech across the world. It's a very tough alignment to live in example, okay? So there we go. I just wanted to do a very quick overview chat of those things, but tonight the show is actually about tarot readings. Yes. So let's have a look. All right, let's see. I'm just going to check the screen. Heather discovered TL in 2016. Ouch. Okay, let's have a look. So, I've got to check something. Let's see. Okay, I'm just checking through the chats at the moment. So we've got a super chat for Rhonda, a super chat for Path, super chat for Heather, a super chat for JS, Jennifer. And there's a lot about love here tonight. Interesting. Okay. Love reading, basically. Jennifer has more issues regarding her late father. So we'll get to that in a moment. Let me have a look, see what's going on. So if this ends up being a short show tonight, don't worry about it. We can catch up another time next week. I'm actually very, I have to admit, I'm a little bit, I don't know what the word is. I'm feeling this full moon very, very strongly myself. And I have to make sure that I don't self-harm in any way by overdoing things. I love doing this, as you know, but I also have, a lot of things that have to be taken care of as well. Now, so everybody understands that. I'll just put this here for the last second, in case there's anybody else watching out there who wants to get a reading. This is what you do. You press the super chat button, which is just near where you type, or you can go to PayPal direct. Okay, now I'm going to check in. Yeah, I always need new markers also. So here we are. JS. Yeah, I'm feeling the pressure. I'm very acutely sensitive to the transits of the planets. I have my own kind of astrology profile, just like you guys. And so that I do not become what I would call a victim of the transits. I do a lot of, I would call it weather research, just like watching and creating my own astrodoodles, kind of like homemade weather reports, so I can navigate myself through this stuff and make the best of it, because it's so easy right now to come unglued, like with this, a full moon. It's always stressful for some people. And also the heavy Cancer Capricorn axis that's still going on. A lot of this affects America. It affects China, but it also affects each one of us as individuals, okay? Okay, so how is the energy for you, TL? The energy for me is like a lot of light is being shown on the things that are valuable to me, my relationships, especially my relationships, and my ability to have open, clear, healthy, wholesome, loving communication in my relationships, and also discovering how valuable and important they are because of the gift of the Aquarius moon shining up and reflecting back to me personally what I need to know about the Leo Aquarius axis. I guarantee everyone here somewhere has a Leo Aquarius axis, okay? So if you want to learn about those things, or if you want a reading, you can book something around that if you want. But tonight we're just going to do live mini readings, okay? Okay, Rhonda, what you're saying here? Okay, Rhonda M. You're a Scorpio sun, excuse me. My tummy's been very sensitive lately. I think it's nerves. I think so. You were asking JS, how's my energy? I have a huge amount of what I would call like surges of electrical energy moving through me, like it's almost overload. and my body can't really take it. So I'm sort of like somebody who had way too much caffeine for a whole week and not enough sleep. And then they said enough is enough, so you have to stop, you have to rest. So my tummy is incredibly sensitive right now, and my brain is a bit frazzled because I've been worrying so much and doing things that perhaps I don't really have to do, but I couldn't help it. I don't have absolute 100% control over how all this works out. I am as susceptible to the transits as all of you, and I know about that, so I deliberately forecast my own charts so that I'm not so much of a victim, but I'm still affected. And because you asked, JS, my issue right now is having a very nervous tummy. So there you go. And by the way, that's a really good segue into, you've guessed it, stay right there, do not go away. So soothing, people. This is what I need. Yes. Cheers, everybody. All right, so I just put that aside because we might need more later on. Yes, always another thing, since you mentioning this on the chat, full moons almost always bring up the issue of relationship. They make it very vivid, like it's right in your face. Whether it's you and your neighborhood, or perhaps a neighbor with you, or you and a boyfriend, you and a girlfriend, you and a mother, or you and a very significant body. It could be a large body, like a group, like a population, like your relationship with America. How do you feel about America? America, the United States of America, is under incredible pressure right now from the transits. And everything good about America is being questioned. Everything bad about America is being exposed. And I think if America was like a human being, they would have a very, very sick tummy right now and a very strong urge to creatively self-express about how truly magnificent we are. Like in America, we have this amazing thing. Not every country has it. We have our Constitution, and it is an amazing document. It's a very historical, life-changing document for millions of people, and it's about, theoretically, a better way to live. But it's like setting the standards so high. How do you keep that up without all the corruption? So what's happened is the United States has become, basically, we're witnessing our own corruption and how we have degraded. We've allowed ourselves to be corrupt and corrupted. We've corrupted ourselves, basically. So there's something very sad and tragic going on inside of me as I witness all of this. I feel very, very hurt personally that this country that I love is in so much pain and so much suffering. It's just like if you think of the United States as a human being, it's under astronomical pressure right now. And with the full moon, everybody has a Leo axis somewhere. Like if somebody books a private reading and they really want to know about their Leo axis thingamajig, you can do that. We would actually figure it all out. That's just one part of your chart or whatever. Okay? So, yeah, it's different for everybody. Like if you are born with a naturally prominent Leo or Aquarius aspect in your chart, or even if you're born with a prominent Leo axis, Leo Aquarius axis, you will feel this, okay? Everybody feels it in different ways. You can tell instantly by looking at their charts. All right, let me go back over here. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for being here. So actually, let me just do one more thing. I want to show you something. Hold on. So, As some of you've noticed, I don't really do, dozens and dozens of monthly reports anymore that I give away for free on the channel. I can't afford it. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I'm no longer compensated by YouTube for any of that stuff. In fact, they are basically stripping my channel incrementally, and it's very sad, but this is how it is. So I only do what works. That makes me sad too, because really the only thing that's working anymore for the channel is these Sunday Night Live Super Chats and pretty much anything that we do live where somebody puts in a donation, things like that. But sometimes there are things where I can't take the distractions or not the distractions, but the inclusions of chats into a certain type of recording. So the other day I recorded something using those charts that I just showed you. So that was a recording, and then I loaded that into the channel. So that's a very different thing from doing the Sunday Night Live Super Chats. But it's been a long time since I've just loaded a regular video. And what's happened now inside YouTube is that there's these massive screening systems, these massive filters and, what's the word for it? Self-censorship criteria that you have to go through so that you can save the YouTube censorship machine from doing its work, obviously, because there's so many millions of channels. And then once you've gone through the self-censorship process for each and every video, then it will get posted. And if there's even something slightly out of line with the Google YouTube, rules, then your channel, your video will get crushed. So that was a really profound learning experience for me. But anyway, I got through it. I got cleared. If anyone's interested in a more complex explanation or interpretation of what's happening across the world right now, especially with the United States and China, then please check out that video. Okay? Something to think of. Okay? Hey, Fritaly. Hold on. I just want to check Fritaly's here. Hold on. She was out on the porch when the older little critter came around the corner for food and started eating. Mom came around, didn't care I was out there. In fact, she ate and left. Okay, they're getting pretty cocky, aren't they? You had a guest cat last night, too? Raccoons. Cheers. Welcome, Fritaly. By the way, Fritaly, thank you again for all your support. Seriously, it adds up. You're a total trooper. You're just like... I wish I could give you a really big hug right now, but you're so far away. So please accept a big virtual hug from me, okay, Fritaly? Whether you're there on your device or whatever, looking out at the garden at night, chatting to the critters. Big hug from Terrorlumination. Okay. All right. I'm pretty much ready to get on with some readings, okay? Let's have a look here. We might as well get started. Here we go. Okay, so let's have a look. So I'm going to put this aside. I think everybody understands this. If you're just arriving at the show right now, it is Sunday Night Live, and this is where you get your world-famous Super Chat mini readings. You can use the Super Chat button, or you can do a PayPal direct to a little book about at yahoo.com, or you could even go to terrorlumination.com, the website, and go to the donate page and put the money in there. It's up to you. Anyway, what I was just describing earlier is that I made a whole video about this stuff, okay? Because it's a very important season for America. All of this stuff, I made a video, okay? So check it out if you're interested. All right, first up, Jennifer. So, on this channel, all sorts of wacky things happen. Sometimes we deal with very painful, tragic, sad subjects. But does that stop us from doing the show? No. So in fact, in some ways, that's the point of this show. It's kind of a safe haven. It's a safe place where people can openly and safely discuss sometimes like very tragic, very difficult subjects in their lives where you can't really necessarily get all the light and love and appreciation or understanding from your normal sources, from, let's say, I don't know, friends and family or a psychiatrist or a magazine or, another tarot channel or something like that. So anyway, a few days ago we had a show here, and Jennifer came in late, and it was the end of the show, but she said, you know what, I'm just going to pay for it and I'll see you on Sunday. So this is it. This is Jennifer's JS, and her message is about dreams she's been having about her dad. Her dad passed away recently, and JS is struggling with the journey through grief, and it is difficult, no question about it. Jennifer, I understand you. I've lost both of my parents, and in each case, it was very, very hard for me. It was devastating. It was just devastating for me. And I never, because I had never lost a parent before. But when I lost my dad, I was just demolished. When I lost my mom, I was demolished. I like to be happy, and I tend to be very resilient, spiritually highly resilient, and so I did bounce back and I did recover, and all of that is now in the past. But there's no question about it. Grief was overwhelming. So I understand your concern, JS, especially if it's recent about your dad passing. Like we've had a couple of other stories here as well on the channel, about a Love Triber lost her dad recently, and who was it who also lost their dad recently? I can't remember. Oh yeah, and Gregory lost his. I think he's taking care of his mom over in hospice right now. So yeah, it's a dark subject, and death and passing and dying and what happens on the other side. But hey, it happens to everyone. So what's the point in being scared about it? You might as well, rejoice. See it as something beautiful. Alright, here we go. So JS, here we go. What kind of messages do we have for you, Jennifer, regarding these dreams? Perhaps a message that needs to come to you, how to interpret some of your dreams regarding the passing of your father, and maybe including meeting your father in the dreams and so on. Basically, what is it you need to know? Okay? Also, by the way, each one of you, JS, Heather, Path, and Rhonda, you're very brave to do this stuff in public. You probably figured out by now that I like to be very bold and bright and open with my readings, but I've also learned the hard way that sometimes I have to be very careful with my language and what I do and how I do it. So if it feels to you like I am stifling the reading or I'm self-censoring, I'm only doing that in ways so that I can make sure that the channel stays in compliance, so I don't get shut down. So I just be very, very careful. The channel is established as a no children's channel, and that gives me a lot of clearances. So all of that's good. And in theory, I can cover a tremendous amount of subjects on this channel, controversial subjects and issues, so long as I stay within the very kind of strict guidelines, okay? Don't worry, JS. It doesn't have to be depressing. We're shedding light. Think of this as the Leo thing about throwing light on it. And think about the other light. The other biggest light object in the heavens is the moon. So you've got a double dose. It's like you've got two big flashlights shining light on the subject right now. Think of it as good. Think of it as a good thing. Okay? You're going to be fine, but let's just kind of get into it here. All right, Jennifer, are you okay? I'm sensing a bit of sadness over here. I'm sensing this simply because we're dealing with the subject at all. I'm picking up a degree of grief and sadness already. It's not mine, but I'm feeling it. And I think it's simply because we're touching on the subject in such an open, clear manner. And This is going to sound really weird, but I'm very close to having a moment of being upset myself. And I don't want to do that right now. I want to just try kind of stay clear for you. But, okay, I'm getting a very strong connection with you, Jennifer. I can feel it right here. It's as though you're in the room with me. Sometimes this happens on our readings. It's okay. Yeah, I kind of thought so. Let's just go for it, okay, Jennifer? Just go for it. Don't worry about it. It's really the best thing to let it flow. Grief can be an extremely heavy energy to process, and you really, really have to process it. And the best way to do that is doing what you're doing now, allowing the energy to flow through you so that perhaps some very hidden, deep energies that never, ever came to light, had never been understood, can have a chance to have some, expression, okay? Yeah. I'm not laughing at you, Jen. I'm not laughing about your dad. I'm just laughing because of what I just saw there on the screen, okay? You see, so Jennifer, you're in good company here, all right? You're in very, very, very good company here. I would like you to... Damn it, I'm getting affected. I don't want to be affected, okay, right now, Jennifer, but... Damn it. Ah. Excuse me a moment. Oh, gosh, excuse me. Hold on. So, Jennifer, what I'm sensing is happening here is there's a lot of mutual compassion, mutual understanding. Like there's a few people who know about where you are and where you have been and where you're going, okay? So, right now, you need to know that you are surrounded by love. You're surrounded by a circle of love, okay? Got it? All right, let's do this. You're in a good space, Jennifer. All right, here we go. I just want to finish up. It's not just me, Jennifer. There's a bunch of people here tonight. I can feel it. It's just like a massive circle of love. Here we go. All right, so regarding Jennifer and the passing of her father, we got some stories here to come out. And let's just see what happens. Let's see what messages from the dreams. How about that, okay? So that you can better understand the journey of grief and come through the other side. Here's the situation. Of course, it's about the passing. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the weather conditions for you. Think of it as the sun in Leo, the moon in Aquarius, for example. What does that look like for you right now? Okay, it looks like I shuffled everything upside down. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to flip these because I held everything upside down. No worries. I don't do reversals. So watch this. You probably already caught a glimpse accidentally. So this is a very beautiful energy to have around you right now. This is, to me, it's like, basically it's a card of sacred opportunity. This is the Ace of Cups. It's a very, very powerful card about like the opening of the heart. Let's say some people would say opening the heart chakra, allowing the energy of the healing power of love to flow into your life from up above. We ask for the healing power of love to fill your body, your mind, your heart, and soul from up above. And that's what's happening right now. I think by exposing your situation here in public and sharing with everybody, what it's doing, it's actually opening like a portal. A portal where the healing power of love can flow. For example, if you decided to bury your grief or were too awkward or ashamed or embarrassed or uncomfortable to share your grief in the story, then this probably wouldn't be here, okay? So what I'm sensing here is that we've kind of started with a very beautiful reading, where it's really what it's really about is um, understanding, like one of the most important experiences in life is to experience love, how to give and how to receive love. We've talked about this many times on the channel. Be loving, be loved. Basically tell yourself, I am loving, I am loved, okay? And so on. Let's have a look at the situation. Wow. Okay, you know what? I don't know. I've got an 8 of Wands here. So I don't know how psychic you are, Jennifer. You can actually type it in the screen, because I'm sensing something here that you might not have considered. Jennifer, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but you might have some strong psychic abilities or something, or you might have a very deep, profound spiritual connection now that has been basically forged and welded, that allows you to be more clearly connected with, let's say, the other side, okay? And allows the other side to communicate with you. So here is my interpretation. What I'm sensing over here with the 8 of Wands is that despite the grief, this is actually kind of exciting. It's kind of a fun thing, because you're looking at your life and your whole world from a new perspective, where love flows. If you think of love as an energy field, like a force, I think of it as the healing power of love that comes from up above. I believe that we're swimming in love. I believe we are saturated in love. And I'm writing a book about it. And sometimes we don't really get to understand or appreciate love in the biggest perspective, except sometimes through some of the most profound experiences in our lives, perhaps like the birth of your child, or the passing of a loved one, the tragic loss of a loved one, the amazing arrival of a new love, or something like that, and it just affects you deep at the core heart center. So what I feel is happening here is that okay, here's an example. Like, if you're at this channel already, my feeling is that you have a natural, relatively high frequency way of operating in your life already, and you're starting to get more and more comfortable about it, okay? And so by becoming more open to the flow of love, think of the Ace of Cups as a message showing you to yourself, dear Jennifer, you are now officially an instrument of the healing power of love. You don't have to do it, but if you want to, that opportunity is there. You can allow this phenomenon of the healing power of love to move into your body, mind, heart, and soul from up above, and then you own it here. And you realize, my God, this is an incredible gift. This is so freaking cool. And then you can have the ability, for example, if Nikki's here tonight, I don't know if Nikki's here. Nikki is a remote viewer, for example. It's like you can hear voices. You can see things from the other side. And it's like becoming a psychic medium. And so what I'm sensing here with the 8 of Wands is that it's like a portal has now opened. Like a doorway has opened that was not open before. The doorway was there and the potential was always there, but now the doorway is officially opened between you, yourself, Jennifer, and the great beyond, where you now have a much higher degree of access to the healing power of love. That's how I look at it. And now that you're aware of that, now that you're becoming aware of that, my feeling is that, like with the 8 of Wands, it's like, this is really cool, this is exciting, you can do something with this. It doesn't mean you have to go out and start your own psychic YouTube channel or anything, but it will allow you to live your life from a new perspective where, for example, if you had a really close relationship with your dad and he really loved you and you loved your dad and he's gone, you can assure yourself that he would still be there. And he's looking forward to being, it's like, I'm not saying the 8 of Wands is representing your dad, but what I'm trying to hint at, I'm sort of feeling like It's like your dad has so much that he wants to share with you, so much that he wants to tell you about, and it's so amazing, it's so beautiful, it's so exciting that it's almost like, don't worry about the fact that I'm gone. Yeah, I know it's grief, it's tragic, but believe me, dear Jennifer, my daughter, it's freaking amazing up here. We're going to connect. We're going to keep connecting, okay? So it might be through dreams, it might be through psychic experiences, and so on. And this might be something that you have to get used to for the rest of your life on an ongoing random basis. Like it could come from anywhere. You could be driving or whatever, doing some chores or whatever, and all of a sudden, oh, hey, Dad, what was that? Oh, really? Wow, cool, thank you. And that's kind of the stuff that I'm talking about, okay? So, let's have a look. Now, what's the challenges here? Because it might be a little bit too much to handle too quickly. Okay. Okay, so to me it looks like one of the challenges is that there's a deep fear of the loss of something so pure, so simple, so straightforward, and that this will never ever happen again. Like this is such a powerful love card. And for example, if you do or did have a kind of connection with your dad where he's like one of these people who's very much on your side. He doesn't necessarily treat you as a dad. He's more like this an advocate for Jennifer, like a best friend, like an exciting buddy to hang out with. My feeling is that you're deeply aware of the loss of this, the beauty and the simplicity of having something so simple, but it's not the end of the world. And also, here's another weird subject, which is a bit of a tangent, but sometimes, okay, here's something, okay, JS. Sometimes if you're one of those people who's lucky enough to have a really loving relationship with a parent figure, a caregiver, somebody who raised you, where they really and truly, they just freaking love you. Sometimes it can be very hard to replicate or reproduce that or match that in our own, let's say, love relationships as adults, okay? Or even young people or children, whatever. And so it's almost like if the standards of love and being loving and being loved have been set so high in a very pure, pristine, beautiful sense, there's this tragic fear that I'm speaking like I'm Jennifer. I'm never going to have that again. It's gone forever. Am I ever going to have something so pure, so simple, so beautiful? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, that's just fear, okay? The way I look at it is that if you have a healthy relationship with your dad and you miss him and he misses you, you're starting a whole new journey here. And so with the little Two of Cups, let's just keep going. I won't overdo it, okay? Like, for example, how am I ever going to have that in my own life again? How am I going to ever have something so pure, like me and someone else or someone else and me? Does that mean I'm lost forever? I'll never have that kind of love again? Let's see, how do we deal with that? Okay, to me it looks like you have to trust in the fates. Sounds kind of like a cop-out as a tarot reading, and I'm just sitting here just saying, hey, don't worry, Jennifer, everything's going to be fine. Just trust the process. Okay, it's very easy for me to say that, but it's probably in some ways very, very hard to do, because it looks to me as though you've got a situation with your dad or the life that you've lived where in some ways you're a very, very lucky person, Jennifer, because if you've got what I'm seeing here is something really really sweet, and you have a father on the other side who is now, looks like he's absolutely determined to be your like best friend, best supporter, like a mascot, your best coach, life coach. They're out there. Sometimes it's really hard to believe that they're not physically here in person. So what I'm sensing here with the Wheel of Fortune card is it's almost basically like take it Take it from everyone else here tonight. Take it from Terra Illumination. You just have to trust that the fates are working for you. Everything is exactly as it should be. All the elements of earth, air, fire, and water, like they do in astrology. Earth signs, air signs, fire signs, water signs, and all the planets as they do that stuff. Everything's perfect. It's like an amazing never-ending ticking clock, and everything is just perfect. Everything is exactly as it should be. And why is that so? How is that so? It's because it can't be any other way. Everything is exactly as it should be. All the grief and all the suffering and all the awakening to the beauty that is here. Okay? So it's like, the only way I can say it is that, Jennifer, you're going to have to trust the process. And I think what that includes is that you're going to have an ongoing relationship with your dad, and you're going to learn over a long period of time that this is just going to be part of your life now. You might appear in dreams, might act like in my life, for example, like in my own life, I have my own invisible friends. I know my mom and dad are out there, and sometimes I don't see them ever. Sometimes I'll go for weeks and I won't sense them. But I know they're there, and I know they love me very much, and they have a whole life over there too. I might sound like a total crackpot, but we do that on this channel. So my feeling is for you, the way to handle your situation with the Wheel of Fortune there is just take it all as like a magical mystery tour. Like, wow, this is so amazing. I am so devastated. I'm so broken up by the loss of my dad. On the other hand, I'm walking into a brand new world, brand new horizons, brand new sun, brand new opportunities that you almost perhaps could never have envisioned before. But it's starting right now, and there's no going back. It's a beautiful thing. It's just like life goes on. The Wheel of Fortune, you go up, you go down, you go up, and you go down. And going down, it's really scary. And then when you go up, it's really scary. Oh, and then when you're at the top, it's awesome. And then when you're at the bottom, it's scary, and so on and so on. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you. Okay? So I hope that reading helped. It was just a little mini reading. I kind of went on a bit, but, it was kind of a delicious reading for me to deliver. All right, so let's move on. Heather. What's up, Heather? I'm going to shuffle up the deck here. I'm going to put you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play a little Terra Illumination song. Okay, JS? JS, I'm going to play a little song called Circle of Love. So the lyrics are more like about war and things, but just think of the chorus line, okay? And I used the word circle of love earlier in your reading, so I'm going to just play it just for fun, okay, while I shuffle the deck and get ready for Heather, okay? Here we go. See if I can find it. Here we go. It sounds like this. This song is really more about war, but think of it as a circle of love, okay? Literally a circle of love. People being loving and being loved. La da 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 da, la 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 la. La da 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 da, na 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 na. La da 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 da, la 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 la. La da 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 da. This message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. La da 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 da. La 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 la. La da 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 da. From explosions, screaming babies everywhere. Their blood is flowing to the oceans. Our hearts are numb from trying to care.
trying to care. I got this message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. La da 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 da. La 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 la. La da 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 da. Soon, when the smoke and dust has lifted and all the rubble has been cleared, and all the bodies will be sifted, their ghosts will walk around for years, years and years. Yeah, I got this message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. I got this message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. Da 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 da. La 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 la. La da 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 da. La 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 la.
Wow. Whew. Thank you, Path. Must have slipped right by me. I mean, because you know, sometimes the chat moves very quickly and I miss a few things. Thank you so much, Gregory. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, let me just go back. I got to scroll through the chat. I want to check in with Gregory there. Okay, I see it now. I see it. Thank you, Path. I got the big orange box on the screen. Yay. Okay. No problem, Heather. So on Heather's magic post-it note, she added a couple things that this is a long-distance relationship. Both are Leo. Okay. So I'm familiar with all sorts of relationships. I've had a very interesting life, you could say, and including relationships of all sorts. So, including long-distance relationships, and I can tell you that sometimes it's the most beautiful thing in the world you can imagine, but also, of course, obviously, it can be the most frustrating. I believe Fritili is really struggling with one of those things right now. It's just incredibly frustrating because the human being is biologically designed to be with another human being. We are highly, highly social creatures. We naturally crave the companionship and the proximity of other human beings. Normally we do this because it's like biologically advantageous so that we can survive and grow, but it's also a very rich and satisfying experience when you're with the right people, good people. Oh gosh, that glass is empty. Damn. I'll have to come back to that. So, long distance can mean all sorts of things. I mean, these things happen. Like you can meet online, you can meet personally, and then they actually are discovered to be living far away, and so that you have to conduct what amounts to a long distance relationship. And the physical distance can be, in some ways, a gift, but it can also be a bit of a curse. Because naturally, you know, people especially two people who love each other. Okay, let's talk about the full moon again. Leo Sun, Aquarius Moon. And Heather is noting that both of them are Leos. Okay, so the subject of relationship might be very important for each of them right now. Okay, Heather just put on something as well on the screen. So is he the right one? Wow. Okay. So So, okay, this is going to sound really horrible, Heather. Let me just say so. I'm going to do something. Okay. I am loving. I am loved. Truly. I am loving and I am loved. I know what it's like to be loved. Okay? I am deeply loved. I might not recognize it or remember it or acknowledge it or be grateful for it all day, every day, like you're supposed to do if you're like an ascended master. But I know that I am. I also know what it's like to love and be loved when it's almost impossible for it to happen in a three-dimensional physical life where you can literally be with the one who loves you and the one who loves you can be with you. Okay? And for whatever reason, this is how things are sometimes. So it's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but in terms of the biology, it can be very painful sometimes to be very closely attracted, strongly attracted to someone to you, and yet not really have the full capacity to be together for whatever reason. You know, jobs, culture, different nationalities, immigration policies, whatever it is. Okay? It's not the end of the world, but we can still learn a lot. You can still love. You can still be loved. Love is everywhere. Love travels through time and space. I know this from experience, especially when it comes to the healing power aspects of love. Okay? It is literally like a vortex and energy field. Okay, let's get back to your reading. So, almost what I was trying to say there before we even got into it, it almost doesn't matter is he the right one or not. There are lots of people out there on planet Earth, Heather, and it is possible to love and be loved by multiple people. I'm not saying you have to go out and be kind of like a tramp, and I'm not suggesting that he goes out there and just like, you know, squanders himself on someone else while he's still got, all that. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm suggesting, like in a very platonic way, it's perfectly possible to have a very loving relationship from a distance. Now the thing is, what happens, I've noticed, when you have a son-son relationship, sometimes it's very, very hard to get perspective, because it's almost like, imagine you're driving in a car together, okay? And you're sitting in a passenger seat, and they're sitting in a driver's seat, and every now and again you say, listen, let's swap out, okay? I'll drive, then you drive. And you're going forward in life as two Leos heading that way. But often what I've noticed is that sometimes it's very hard for son-son relationships to get the perspective that they need, because the son-son relationships, the energy tends to go like this. But if you're, say, in a sun-trine relationship, the energy, the angles are like, 120 degrees. So, and you can learn a lot. It's very comfortable. If you're in a relationship where it's squared, you can learn a lot, but it can be very uncomfortable. If you're a relationship of opposition, like if you were in a relationship with an Aquarius, you would probably have some very vivid understandings about who you really are and who you really are not, and who they really are and who they really are not. But with the Leo-Leo dynamic, sometimes you can feel a very strong connection, because like, wow, I'm like you, you're like me, we like click like that. But does that mean you are like a, what you could call perhaps a mating pair? Okay? All right, let me just do this. Let's just shuffle it up and get going. All right, Heather? All right, let's have a look. So what messages do we have here for Heather today, right now, tonight, on this show, live, in person with Tarot Illumination and everyone else who's here, regarding the subject of ... which happens to be Heather in relationship to this other person who happens to be a Leo as well. There's two Leos in this. Okay? Here's the situation. Here's the challenge. Here's how we're going to handle it. I'm not going to do a relationship spread. We can do that, but I'd rather do that in a more private setting, and it's probably going to have to be more expensive. So let's have a look. So regarding this subject, okay, I'm feeling a lot of energy, like this is going to, okay, let me just do it. Hold on. Give me a second, Heather. Give me a second. I don't know if your Leo fellow can be very bold or forceful or, let's say, self-confident in such a way that they don't mind, like, sort of speaking their mind when they want to, perhaps when it's not appropriate or when it would be better just to sort of, live and let live. I get the feeling that you're dealing with someone who's kind of bold, rich, and fairly self-assured in their own way. Even though they might perhaps be broken deep down inside, I see at least a strong energy of, if it's not genuine self-confidence, there at least is a certain aura of self-confidence, okay? Let's have a look. So we've got the Three of Wands here. So what can happen is that it feels to me like there's a lot of, I guess you could call it destiny coming at you. And you could see this relationship as a learning experience where all the seeds that you have planted, all the seeds that have been planted between yourself and this other person, it's happening for a reason. And I think a lot of it is for you to know more about yourself, understand more and more and more about yourself by throwing yourself into the experience of relationship. On the understanding that sometimes relationships are too much when they are physical and three-dimensional. So it might be actually very convenient that this is actually a bit of a long-term relationship where you can you start to see the consequences of the decisions that you've made about choosing to share your time and energy with this person long distance, and they in person are choosing to share their time and energy with you long distance, and then you start to see the consequences of that. Well, what does that actually mean? Okay, what does that actually mean? Like, wow, I have a very strong connection with this Leo person far, far away. This Leo person has a very strong connection with me far, far away. Wow. So you're getting exactly what you deserve. You're getting a situation which might be incredibly frustrating, but it might be also rewarding because you're learning a lot about yourself. And that would be a simple consequence of decisions that you've made in the relationship already. Some people wouldn't do it. Some people would have said, what's the point, Heather? Why are we doing this at all? It's a long distance thing. I'm never going to be able to hook up with you. You'll never be able to hook up with me. Simply because of the distance thing, for whatever reason. Now, Heather, in your notes, you said, like, is this truly the one? Let's have a look at the situation itself. Okay, it looks to me like there's a lot of trepidation here. So you could almost say this is something to do with the full moon right now. I wouldn't be surprised if the other person is starting to question the relationship himself. Okay, in other words, like, my gosh, exactly what are we doing here? I mean, and why? What is this really? It is, in other words, okay, I'm going to do it sort of like this. This is going to sound really weird. Pretend I'm the other guy, okay? Because I felt a serious jolt over here early in the reading. And this, I don't know if he's like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It felt like it was like someone jolting me. He's like, hey man, like, do we really have to do this in public? That's what I felt over here. I don't know if he's a very, very open, direct kind of person, and he's not. He's different from you, and he wouldn't want to necessarily, go into the relationship dynamics on a stage or in a public forum like this. And so that's what I felt earlier. I kind of like put it aside, but I felt it. So my feeling here is like with the moon card is that one of the consequences of having like a parallel relationship, like if imagine you're in a car, you're both facing forward in the front driver's seat and the passenger seat, but the question is at any one time, who is the one holding the steering wheel? And it goes back and forth and back and forth. And sure, he may have a vested interest in you. He may have a vested interest in the relationship. And he's learning from it just as much as you're learning from it. But what I'm sensing over here is like, hey man, do we really have to do this? You know, and it feels very masculine and actually quite healthy. And I don't blame him. Some people don't want to do this kind of stuff online. They think it's like weird and rude and intrusive, and you're spying, you're looking behind the curtain and everything. So what I'm sensing here is doubt. Fear and doubt, like, oh my God, I'm Heather Mocha. Have I been fooling myself all this time? Have I been investing all this time and energy into a long-distance relationship only to discover that the person on the other side, who's also spending time in this long-distance relationship, is starting to question themselves? You're questioning yourself. I think they're questioning themselves as well, but they're not calling it out directly. And that's what I'm talking about in the difficulty in getting perspective in a relationship, because you're both heading this way simultaneously, and the only way you can really get it, deal with it, is to stop the car, get out, and look at each other and go like this, and like you face into it, and you have these heart-to-heart experiences, heart-to-heart conversations, person-to-person things. But what I'm sensing here is the relationship has a tendency to go like this, as though you're on a journey with someone in a car, and you're constantly swapping whoever's holding the steering wheel just to keep it going, but never actually having a full understanding of like, well, what does this really mean for you? Okay, well, I was going to ask you, what does this really mean for you? But there's a momentum. There's a strong momentum, okay? Okay, so, okay, you just said that he's actually quite an alpha male. Well, I'm definitely seeing that here. I'm feeling it. It's not showing in the cards, but I definitely felt it as though he was a psychic medium himself, okay? Now, he might not be like that at all, but I definitely felt his presence here. Okay, let's keep going. What's the problem? Okay, so go back to this. With the moon card, it looks to me like you, Heather, and your gentleman are both dealing with the very same issue. Like, what is going on here? What is it that I'm scared of? Why am I even questioning this? Why am I doing this at all? Am I really the one for her? Is he really the one for me? How you deal with that, Heather, is your issue. How he deals with it is his issue. But if he is like a fairly, recognizable alpha type male, especially as a Leo, the last thing they're going to tolerate is being questioned and undermined, or let's say disrespected. Okay? And so the energy of doubt, even though it might be very prominent between yourself and him, and between him and yourself, it's not something that would want to be acknowledged or dealt with, because it means like, wow, that's like an offense to my ego. Like, there should never be any doubt about how awesome I am or how awesome Heather is. You should never have any doubt about that. But in this situation, there is doubt. And I think the reason for doubt is because it's so hard to get full perspective. So doubt becomes understandable. So what's the problem with this? Okay, so I'm feeling like there's a kind of a sense of vacuum here. So the reason I'm saying that is because, Heather, I remember once we had a meeting. It was long ago, but I can recall that I felt you as someone who has a very strong energy. You could, if you're telling me that you're a Leo right now, it doesn't surprise me. It's a very strong Leo energy. the right and the desire to be you, to creative self-expression to the highest degree possible. And at the time, I remember issues of self-doubt, but I also remember the very dominant energy was your own natural strength. So when I see the magician here, what I'm sensing is that you might be in a situation where you are recognizing your own, say, alpha female energy, your very, very strong Leo feminine self, okay? Most of the Leo women that I know have a very strong sense of self, identity, a good, healthy ego. And if they're not that way, they tend to be very nasty people. But the people who have a very healthy Leo type sun ego, they're just great. It's a very strong energy. And so when you, okay, Heather, when you're in a situation where there's a Leo over here, there's a Leo over here, and they're naturally, Leo energy by nature is basically strong and courageous and bright and bold. And so when any issue of doubt, self-doubt about yourself, self-doubt about him, or self-doubt about the relationship comes into the equation or into the conversation, it's almost like a fuse blows, like the power goes out. And it's almost like, how can I describe this? Okay, there's a magician card here. Okay, Heather, bear with me. Sorry, these are turning into very long-winded readings, but I just can't help it. I'm really like flooded with the healing power of love. Okay, so anyway, it's like it's almost like there's a lot of energy. It's just like there's momentum, energy moves forward. There's perhaps a sense of doubt in yourself right now. Perhaps there's a sense of doubt in himself right now. But that feels to me like it's being put aside because there's a certain benefit to having a relationship that has an existence, that has momentum already, even if it's got question marks going all around it. But when you get to the point where you actually reach the moments of doubt, perhaps in a different relationship, you might scratch your head and kind of ask questions like, hey, honey, I don't know if you feel like out of whack. I don't know what's wrong with us right now, but maybe we need to talk. Like, am I too distant? Am I too overbearing or whatever it is? I need to know. I'm just trying to help. But with this sun-sun relationship, neither party would be very, let's say, inclined to want to call the other party out. It's like, so if you're saying, like on the screen, he has quite a lot of alpha male characteristics, and if you just, even for a fraction of a moment, call that out and bring up the possibility that there might be fragilities in the relationship, that could easily be taken as an affront to the ego. Okay? And it could be so startling. Okay, for example, right now, on this full moon right now, we have the Leo sun, the Aquarius moon, in a very hard square with Uranus and Taurus, like a very grounding energy. So it might be the same energy as like whenever you have a moment of doubt, it isn't just like, you got to deal with this, we got a little bit of an issue. The moment of doubt is not acceptable at all, because the Leo doesn't like doubt. The Leo likes to be bold and bright and confident and shiny all the time. And so if you're calling out the relationship, or they're calling out the relationship, or they don't want the relationship to be called out, it might not be for the reasons of, I don't want to evolve or grow, I don't want to know the answers. It's because it's like an affront to the ego. And so you have, let's say, Heather, let's just say it, Heather, let's just say you have a lot of alpha female characteristics, and you're dealing with an alpha male, and you're not seeing it in a more traditional relationship, sun, square, triangle, or whatever. It's in a full-on sun conjunct sun. It's very difficult to get that perspective. Like, neither side would want to back down. Neither side would want to agree to the possibility that this might be wrong. because that's such an affront to the ego. Then you have to accept the concept of failure. No. Okay? So when I see the Magician card here, that's the problem. It feels to me like when the energy of doubt, the energy of question marks, or the energy of, let's say, being off track comes to the surface, it isn't just like, oh, we need to check our GPS like on a driving thing. Can you check the GPS, honey? No, it's just like the fuses blow and you have to stop at the side of the road. It's kind of an extreme energy, okay? It's like being totally disempowered. So, how do you deal with that? Okay, well, you're going to have to ask some very deep questions of yourself, okay? So this is the Lover's card. And so it might mean that the whole point of this reading, the whole point of your relationship is to come to learn more about yourself, Heather, by being connected and relating with someone who is perhaps in some ways a very, very accurate reflection of yourself. But you don't normally get to see it in terms of reflection. You only get to experience it when the fuses blow, or when the light goes out, or something scary happens and you have to kind of stop the journey and question things. So you end up, the way to deal with it is understand that you've kind of brought this upon yourself. You've made decisions in the past, like, I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to continue to do this. And they're continuing to do this. But you asked a question here earlier on the chat, is this really the one for me? So that puts extreme doubt. All of a sudden, everything that's good about what you've got can instantaneously be put into a world of doubt just from that one thought. And then if you don't acknowledge that, it's like pretending you don't have a problem, which is ultimately unhealthy in the long term of a relationship. So it's a good thing right now that you're getting this reading, because what it's telling me to tell you is to be really, really honest with yourself. Is like, can you handle this relationship the way it is right now? Is this truly the one for you? Are you willing to take this person with all of their flaws, all of their energies for better or worse? And are they willing to accept you with all your flaws and energies for better or worse? Okay? And to consider that. And if that is not so, if there's something that is truly honestly out of whack and not acceptable about the relationship, then you have to be honest about it and kind of call it out and bring it into the light for examination. And in your situation, it feels to me that the only way to get full light and examination on this subject is do exactly what you did here, is to get a reading to expose the possibility that there might be doubts about having this relationship, because there are periods when you end up like disempowered. He gets disempowered, you get disempowered, the relationship gets disempowered, just like literally pulling a plug. And so you have to ask the question, do I pull the plug? And that requires a very, very tough decision, because people naturally love to have relationships. And if you make a decision like, shit, you know what, this is scaring the poop out of me, I have to pull the plug because I can't afford to put all my bright Leo energy into a long distance relationship, which is going to constantly recycle to where the fuses blow, and you don't want to keep telling the same story over and over again. So I have to ask myself the really important, profound questions. What now? What now? What now? What now? Only you can actually answer that, but I think this reading is telling you, Heather, you really have to look at this. Because for both parties, the whole idea of deliberately pulling the plug on the relationship isn't so much about the loss of love, or like, oh, I'm going to be so lonely if I don't have this. It's more to do with the shocking realization, like, my ego can't handle this. I can't stand the idea. Okay, this is going to sound really awful, Heather, but it's just like, pretend I'm you or him or something like that. You can't live with the idea of cutting the relationship, because it's almost like an insult to yourself. And he can't live with the idea of cutting the relationship, because it would almost be like an insult to himself. And so the question of love becomes a secondary issue. It's much more about What does this mean for me? How do I see myself now going forward? How am I supposed to evolve and grow and adapt in love and relationship if I do not have a significant on the other side who can reflect me back to them and them back to me? Oh no, oh no, oh no. And it might be that this reading is a way of letting you know that it's actually very, very hard to get that full degree of perspective and this kind of connection when you have a sun-sun compatibility. I hope that made sense. I hope I didn't get too far off the track. It's just something that has to be brought into the open. It's not your fault. Whatever's not working, it's not really your fault. Whatever is working, you can take some, credits for that. But the reality is, my own experience, the sun-sun combo matching thing can make it very hard to get full perspective. That's all. In the end, and then you have to decide, okay, well, can I live with that? You have to make a decision. This is not the time or the place or the show to make these decisions, but it looks like you have to realize the full reality of the relationship and the situation, and then consider, what does that mean and what kind of decisions am I going to do going forward? Because you're like recycling back into the Three of Wands again, like, wow, I plant new decisions have new outcomes. Okay, there's your reading. Thank you. Okay, I just saw your notes. That's why you're here. I'm usually single by choice. Okay, guys, Heather, you already know it's not about my ego. Don't have a problem leaving Heather Mocha or being single. Okay, that's good. Heather, that's good. Your notes there are very encouraging for me. It's just that I felt very kind of awkward having to convey that message. I felt very, very awkward. Okay? But anyway, it's said, it's done. Okay. Hey, Cote, thank you. Yay, I see you. Yo. Thank you so much. It's going to be a very short show tonight. I can see what's happening. The readings are going very long. I don't know why. So I won't be able to handle more than what we've got here, honestly. So next up, we're going to read for Path. Thank you, Cote, for the donation. There's not going to be a reading there, but at least we got a donation. Thank you so, so much. I'm going to give you your own magic post-it note to say thank you. Cote Monizaga. For the donation. Thank you. Super duper. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. I'm glad you didn't take it as an offense or anything, but I really felt it very strongly. Okay, Path, let's have a look, see what's going on here. All right. So, Path, does that mean good evening, Cote? Hold on, I just want to do something. I want to go check something back on the chat here. Give me a moment, and I'll get back to you. Don't look at that. Don't look at any of that. Okay. Just want to check something. I have to go scroll way back through the chat here. Give me a second. I want to see what went on. There's Gregory over there. I got that one for Gregory. Yay. Thank you. Yes. There's Rhonda. There's Rhonda coming next. I got that. Anything I need to know. Got it. Okay, I see your notes there, Path. Got it. All right. All right. Right, before we get into it, Path, I am going to have a little top-up, if you don't mind. Actually, I'm going to swap out. I'm going to go to my other beverage. Here we go. I'm already back. I didn't even have to say, hold on. Cheers, everyone. I know it's a strange combination, the different beverages that I do, but this is how it is. All right, Pat. Basically, what do we need to know here? So let's tune into the great beyond. Let's, I would say, gather ourselves. Let's activate the healing circle. Let's activate the circle of love. Let's take advantage of our situation here. We have a small number of people, but very loving, dedicated, super high frequency, caring people who choose to be this way. You deliberately choose to live at the highest vibrational frequencies possible because you know deep down that it's probably the most fulfilling way to live. Even though there's other things in life that can be very rewarding and satisfying, choosing to be here, everyone who's here tonight, everyone who's been here, everyone who's watching, by definition, you have some aspect of your character, your nature, your astrology profile, your spirituality that operates on a very high frequency. Sometimes it can be feeling very lonely at those levels. And that's probably why we hang out here, because it's just basically a very small crowd of like-minded souls. Heather studies astrology. I just saw your notes, Heather. Now, hey, Heather, I have to ask, have you noticed the more that you study, the more questions that you have? All right, let's see what's going on for Path. Okay, let's have a look. Heather, just so that you know, there's another person who comes here quite frequently, and that is Tina Miller, and she really studies astrology as well. And I personally believe, from having helped her get through chapters in her life, that her particular study of astrology has really helped her to deal with things in life that could not have been dealt with without her study and learning and wisdom of the astrology. Okay, simply because there are so many things in her life that she's already a very smart, capable person. She's already a professional healer by nature. And yet, there's more to learn and understand. And so she deliberately chose, what we do here on this channel, including astrology, to help her to learn more about herself and life and her world in order to live a richer, more loving life, being more loving and being more loved. She is totally into that. And it can really help. Thank you, Heather. It can really help when you study astrology, because it's all about know thyself, which it makes it easier to love thyself. Okay, anyway, thank you, Heather. All right, Path, let's have a look. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And actually, by the way, you need to know, everybody here, Path does a huge amount of work on self-care herself. She makes it her business to basically kind of like what I do over here. I study my own weather reports, my astrology reports, and I try to figure out what is the best thing that I can do with all of this right now. I can see the challenges, I can see the opportunities, then what do you do with that? And you make conscious, deliberate decisions. Path does that very much in the same way that Love Triber does that, very much in the same way that Tina does that. And pretty much everybody does that here in the channel in their own way. But especially regarding the astrology, it's a very measurable thing. All right, let's have a look, Path. What's going on out there with all these planets? We're at a Leo Sun Aquarius full moon right now. So what does that kind of energy feel look for you? We got the Three of Wands again. Okay, so my feeling is that you might be seeing things like, yeah, I told you so. I already know. I already knew. I already know. Because, Path, you've been very devoted to being loving, being loved, very much devoted to love thyself. I am loving, I am loved, I am loving, I am loved, and all of that. And so I think what's happening is that, for better or for worse, like a combination, you're starting to see like how the process of decision making is a profoundly like divine gift from heaven. That's why they call it Homo sapiens. The instead of Homo erectus or Homo neanderthalis or whatever it's called. The thing about Homo sapiens is that they are biologically and genetically known as having this thing that we call wisdom. And I think wisdom is this sort of awareness like, oh my God, I have the capacity of decision making. I can take all of my natural innate gifts and instincts and I can just live my life on autopilot, or I can go next level and I can actually hold the steering wheel of my life, understanding that I can make decisions that actually sometimes override the limbic system, override the natural instinct to just be angry. Like if someone gets angry at you can just say, well, screw you. Or if you get very angry with someone, but they don't really deserve the anger, and you want to tell them, well, screw you, and then you realize, actually, I can't do that. They're innocent. They don't deserve my wrath. Then you have the spiritual capacity to do that, and that comes through the process of decision making. So with the Three of Wands here, I see that as a consequence of the Two of Wands, which is very much the energy of decision making about what now, what am I going to do with my life right now? And then you realize, my God, the key is to make decisions. And then you realize so much about like the crappy things that happen in your life are the result of decisions or indecision or lack of wisdom. And you realize some of the amazing things about my life are the result of wisdom learned through making very tough decisions that I maybe didn't want to do, but now I'm seeing the benefits of making decisions and the benefits and the beauty and the wonders of decision making. So Path, I'm going to take this opportunity here. I'm not going to do a group reading tonight. I just know I'm not going to have the energy, so I'm not even going to try. But when we do the group reading, I use the Tarot Illumination Heart Spread, and the whole idea is to try and help all of us to get to the point where the head and the mind are the servant of the heart, as opposed to the heart being the servant of the mind. And the key to that reading is, I think it's on the fourth card, the energy of decision making. It sounds like it's nothing to do with astrology or tarot or spirituality or yoga or anything. It's decision making. And it's almost like a science. But that's what I think is happening here with you, Path. It's like a recognition that it's almost like it's perfect. It's amazing how one decision leads to an outcome, which leads to another process of decision making, which leads to another outcome. And once you realize and learn that, my God, this is a process, then you understand the incredible power that you have at hand through the phenomenon of decision making. It's like, this is how I create my destiny. This is literally how you seize the energy of life and world around you, and you create destiny, or what some people would call destiny. What's the situation itself here? Okay, so with the Five of Cups, my feeling is that this is kind of really on the surface right now. And like, no matter how, bright and bold a picture I might have painted with the Three of Wands here, there's a strong sense of destiny in your life, in your world. But with the Five of Cups here, there's also the tragic side of destiny, which some people can't handle, they don't want to know. In other words, like some of what you might call destiny in your life and your world that has been very tragic and painful wasn't necessarily the outcome of your decisions, because other people have the right to exercise their decision-making processes in their life too, and they may or may not do that consciously. Okay? I feel that you, Path, are very consciously aware of the phenomenon of decision making and the power of decision making in your life and how it leads to outcomes. But in terms of love and life and the emotional satisfaction, you might feel as though you got really shortchanged and shafted and screwed over by other people who really did not take ownership of this energy, and they just acted either irrationally or rudely or in a self-serving ways that ended up as very painful to you, where you are at a loss, you are suffering deep pain from the outcome of other people's decisions in a way that you don't deserve it. But the point, I think, here with the Five of Cups is that it's like you've got to reveal it to heal it. It's like it's really important to understand that you can't control all of it, and every one of us at some point in our lives is going to experience grief. Deep, profound grief, pain, and suffering. And it's a very, very hard energy to carry, especially if it's chronic grief. Chronic, long-term, ongoing, everyday grief, like the loss of a loved one and knowing that you're never, ever going to have them back in your life again, no matter what. And that's just how it is. Now, if you want to, you can let the grief own you and you can just swim in grief forever, or you can acknowledge that, this too shall change and that there is new life and new journey up ahead for love, but whatever that looks like. So, if I recall, Path, you are a Leo, a very strong Leo. So at the Aquarius full moon right now, you might be having certain epiphanies about life and love and relationships, and the understanding about wow, I made decisions that I regret, or some other people made decisions that you regret, and some people made decisions that they might regret, but they're never going to honor it. And so you end up, either way, you end up with a recognition that there's some really serious, painful, nasty experiences that you've had to endure in love that were not of your making, and yet you still suffer. Okay, so what's the problem here? The problem, it looks to me, is like not having a solution, not knowing what to do or where to go or how to do it, not knowing what kind of decisions to do now, because let's say, if we're honest, nobody likes to admit that they might be really suffering deep down inside, especially if it's chronic pain, chronic grief. It's a hideous, horrible energy. And if it's chronic, if it's in other words, let's say you get through day-to-day life as though it's not there at all. And because you're a natural, bold, bright Leo, you just do that automatically. But every now and again, when you get a reading like this, we have to acknowledge that there might be a certain ingredient of chronic grief that is like an ongoing problem with no obvious resolution in sight. And that is the deep fear here, is that there is no obvious resolution or healing or indication of what to do or where to go, how to do with it, or how to deal with the chronic grief when it comes to certain matters of the heart. And so that looks like a deep sense of distrust in the whole process of, well, what does it mean to love and be loved? What's the point in being loving if you're not going to be loved? What's the point in constantly giving my love energy out there, putting my life out, making a constant decisions all day and every day to be my best and brightest self, only to be rewarded with fear and doubt about, is it even worth it? I mean, why bother? Why am I here at all? What's the freaking point? Okay? So this is going to probably feel like a horrible reading, Path. I'm sorry, but it's just coming out the way it is. So how are you going to deal with that? You're a very bright, loving, caring person. You've helped a lot of people. You're still helping a lot of people. And you don't deserve to hurt or be hurt. And you don't really deserve to be scared or lost or wondering, what's actually going to become of me? So how are we going to deal with that? Like a what now, what now, what now, what now kind of thing. Okay, so with the Queen of Swords here, to me it's like a really bold, blunt message that you're going to have to move in the direction of being the decision maker and, kind of being less and less sentimental about things. Whatever it is, like, past life, love, or things like that, or love, or romance, or not knowing what to do or how to do it. And go forward in a way that you might not want to do. You might not feel or think of this as like how I really am or how I want to be. But in order for you to evolve and grow and adapt here, my feeling is that it's important to acknowledge the soft underbelly that you might have regarding, love or disappointment in love, grief or loss, or if it's chronic grief, and then not really knowing what to do. In order to handle it is to start making more and more decisions. Every time you come across a moment of awakening where you realize, oh my God, I'm actually making a decision. I'm in the middle of making a decision right now. What am I doing with my time at this very moment? What is occupying my imagination, my thinking space, my activities, my watch time through the day? Is that appropriate for me? Am I actually helping myself? Am I fulfilling myself? Or am I getting stuck? And then once you realize that, like sometimes during the day, we're not aware about how many decisions we make. But my feeling here is that it's really important to come to awareness that you might be making like one really profound decision every couple of weeks or months, or you might be making thousands of little decisions every day that might not feel as though they have any outcome. But with the Queen of Swords here, my feeling is that it's time to become more ruthless about your decision making and not apologizing for it. In other words, if you... Gosh, this is really, really hard reading, because to me, Path, you're kind of pretty evolved already, and then having to come up with a reading like this, it feels to me like with the Queen of Swords here, it's just like the pressure is on. Okay? It's like, it's a full moon, okay? There's a powerful Leo, there's the Aquarius full moon, so the Aquarius Leo full moon axis is fully alive right now. To me, it feels like, in a way, not just about love, but about people and life in general, the message here is to become much more honest and truthful with yourself and being much less tolerant of things that are unacceptable. And then having to make the decisions like, you know what? I don't need you anymore. I don't need you anymore. I don't need this anymore. I don't need that anymore. So I'm just going to go, I'm sorry. I need to be more loving and more loved. I'm going to be even more judicious and discriminating about how I love, how I share my love, with whom I am sharing my love, so that I don't get abused down the road. I'm going to continue to be loving, knowing that I will be loved, but in order for this to work for me even to the next level, I'm sad, I'm pretending I'm Path right now, I'm sad to admit that I'm going to have to become a lot more discriminating. You cannot afford to squander your love on those who are not deserving, those who are not ready, willing, or able, or open to receive love. That has to stop. So that might feel as though you're going to have to become more ruthless. And some people don't want to do that. They like the idea of being nice and generous and kind all the time. That's a Leo thing. And then to deliberately squash that energy, it would go against the core Leo energy. But it looks to me like that's what needs to happen here in order to live more deeply into truth with the self. It sounds like a kind of a really tough lesson, a really tough reading. And I hope it helps you, Path, okay? It's very tough to do because a lot of people don't want to express the Queen of Swords energy. They're ashamed. They're ashamed to use the healing power of no. They're ashamed to say, I'm sorry, this is not acceptable. They're frightened of standing up to an oppressor. They're scared to call people out. Now, I know you're not scared, Pat. You're a very strong, bold person. But with so much strength comes great responsibility. So it feels to me like the levels of discrimination are going to have to increase. The ability, your decisions to basically say no, 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 you, this is not acceptable. I don't have to deal with that. I don't need it. I already know what happens when I accept the unacceptable. We're not going to do that anymore. Thank you. Bye-bye. I'm sorry if I've offended you. Goodbye. It's that kind of energy, okay? So that's your reading path. It's probably a reading that you didn't want to hear, but because you're already you're so kind and generous and you're so aware already, and then having to deal with a reading like this, ugh. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, for some reason, Cote, I can see why. Cote's message got blocked because of a so-called bad word, but I'm going to put it on anyway because it's done in good humor. So I'm hoping you can see that, everybody. That was Cote basically saying that, hey, Path, you are badass, okay? And that's a compliment, okay? Hey, who's that? Who's that? Oh, wait a minute. Somebody new just showed up. Stay there a minute. Who's that? I just saw... Who's that? Autism Guru? Where is that? Love is love, love to all. Hello, Autism Guru. Hey, who are you? Where are you? Come and hang out with us. Tell us more about yourself. Where are you? Are you in America, Canada, Europe, Southeast Asia, Mexico, I don't know, Australia? Where are you? Autism Guru. Oh, well, a title like that indicates to me that you might be someone who knows a lot about how to deal with autism. Just guessing. Anyway, greetings, Autism Guru. Thanks for dropping in and visiting us here on Tarot Lumination Sunday Night Live. Whoa! This is the place where we do Super Chat mini readings. I've got actually 2 more readings to do. I don't know if I can really handle any more after that, but I'll try. So, for example, autism, here's what you could do. Here, you could just hang out with us, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit more. How did you get that name, Autism Guru? And if you don't get a reading tonight, you don't book one, then maybe you can hang out with us next week, okay? You're an autism therapist. Whoa, that's so cool. I have a next door neighbor over in Los Angeles who is autistic. It's a little child, about 4 years old, and the child is really, it's got the, let's say, characteristics. And I know another little boy, I think he's about 15, he's about 9 right now, and he's, basically classified as autistic. And I know his mother has had a very difficult time with all of that, but he's still loved, okay? Connecticut. Hey, Autism Guru, I have connections with Connecticut. I was born there. Yeah, can you tell? Anyway, yeah, I was born in Connecticut. Thank you. Thank you for visiting us. All right, so let's go back. We have more stuff to do, people. Rhonda, are you still here? Oh, there you are. I see you. I see your name on the screen. Hello, Rhonda. Thank you for hanging out tonight. You've got questions. Now, that's, oh gosh, I forgot who's who. I think that one's you. Wait a minute. Which one's you? Rhonda, you typed in, you've got questions about love as well. And one of you is a Scorpio and the other one is a Sagittarius. Am I correct? Which one is you? Are you the Sagittarius or are they the Sagittarius? Which one is it? Hey, Autism Guru, you see those notes there from Path Traveler? You're not alone. Let's have a look. Gregory's going to be up soon. And then Kote made a donation. Thank you, Kote. All right, let's have a look. Rhonda. I'm just kind of going to shuffle. Yours is the 1107. So you're the Scorpio. So let me make a couple of notes here. Rhonda is the Scorpio. And your partner is a Sagittarius. The male person over there. All right. Okay. Oh, have a look at that. You see that? From Autism Guru to Path Traveler. Oh, man. Thank you, Autism Guru, for checking in. That's pretty cool. All right, so we got a lot of question marks going on here between Rhonda and the Sagittarius fellow. Sagman. Scorpio girl and Sagman. Scorpio girl and Sagittarius man. Okay, let's have a look. Questions. And when we have a full moon like this, it makes perfect sense to do relationship readings, okay? So it doesn't surprise me at all that we're doing a relationship reading right now tonight. By definition, the full moon is all about relationships between yourself and another, yourself and the rest of the world, yourself and whatever else. And sometimes that's when you get the most understanding and reflection is under the time of the full moon. All right, Rhonda, let's have a look. What's going on with you guys? Now, I actually do, if you're interested, Rhonda, I do much more in-depth readings. I use Tarot Illumination Crucible spread and multiple spreads to deal with this kind of stuff. But for right now, tonight, I'm going to use the Tarot Illumination Situational spread because it's still very useful pretty much for any situation. Let's bless this deck. Let's bless every single card. Bless everyone here tonight. Bless the cameras, the technology, the internet, the wires, the cables, the softwares, the microphones, the lighting, all of that stuff, that we can do this at all in our very humble way. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Now, you could say, here's the situation with Rhonda about the relationship. Remember, this isn't actually a relationship spread. This is all about Rhonda. And over here, we're going to look at this, the weather, and I'm going to do the same thing like I always do. I'm going to use this as a reference to the passing weather, which is what I do here. This is like a Tarot Illumination weather chart for the Leo season right now. And we just happen to be at this point here, approaching the full moon in Aquarius right now. So there's a lot of light shining on the world of relationships, like what's actually going on here. Again, for better or worse. You are asking Rhonda, question mark, what's going on? Let's have a look. It's a very, by the way, Rhonda, this is a very healthy, useful use of time and energy. Because relationships are some of the most profound, important, healing experiences and environments in our whole lives. It's like through the energy of relationship is where we can sometimes have the most love, the most healing, the most growth, the most awareness. So it's very good to ask questions about that. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, I had a couple of impulses the moment this came out. The Fool card here is like, it's almost exciting. To me, it feels like, number one, allow yourself to be immersed in the relationship without having a clue what's going on, where it's going, or why it exists. What is the purpose, mission, and meaning of this relationship? Ding! Question mark. Question mark. And that's perfectly okay. Especially if it's a fairly new relationship. So, hold on, I need to top up my beverage here. Give me a second. Doopy-doo, doopy-doopy-doo. Oh, let's have a look. Okay. Oh, look at that. I saw something very flirtatious on the screen there. It says, BB, I love you, TL. Can I get a reading still? Yeah, let's do it. I can take one more, but that's it. So we're going to read for Rhonda, Gregory, and if BB wants one, we'll put one over here. Cote made a donation, so that's not a reading. I thank you, Cote. But I can handle Rhonda, Gregory, and BB. But after that, that's all I can handle, okay? Okay, so over here for Rhonda, part of it feels to me like, number one, go with the flow. Enjoy the energy of not knowing. Number one, it's also, of course, be extremely careful because there's a lot of unknowns here. There's a lot of like, let's just say this could go anywhere, anytime, anyhow, for whatever reason, especially if it's a new relationship. Okay, I will do that exactly. Rhonda, hold on. Stay right there, Rhonda. I saw your note. Cheers. Here's to Rhonda, her relationship, and her reading. Delicious. All right, let's have a look. So, I'm not really disturbed by the Fool card here. To me, it's almost kind of exciting. It's almost kind of fun. I don't know, Rhonda, if you've ever been in those kind of relationships where it's just like, I have no idea what's going on. This is like really scary. What the heck's going on here? Like, who are you? What do you do? How did you end up finding me? How did I end up finding you? Exactly what are we doing here? Exactly. Did you say you love me? Did I somehow say I loved you? Did that slip out? Was I drunk or was I you know, there's a lot of like openness here. Okay, so Rhonda, I would enjoy that. I would really, I would say, capitalize on everything that you don't know. Try and see things as an adventure. Like, wow, I don't know what you do. I'm just gonna dive in and see what happens. Hold on, something just lit up the screen. Autism Guru. I don't need a reading, but I send you love and light. You're the perfect super chatter. You're just the perfect super chatter. Just if everybody did that, if everybody who ever showed up to any video, anytime they watch a video, if they just automatically put in huge super chats, I could have my own island. I'd be in New Zealand right now, and I'd have a beautiful home, and I would invite all of you to come and stay. There you go. Thank you, Autism Guru. I'm going to give you your own Post-it note. Oh my God, you're going to get your own magic Post-it note. Woo! Oh, stay there. I know it's exciting. I know. Calm down. Calm. All right, so. All right. So I'm just going to put it over here. Autism Guru, who just checked in for the first time ever tonight, has made a wonderful, very kind donation. I'm going to mark that over here. So you get to hang out with Cote. Thank you. Thank you. And then we'll check the screen because it looks like BB might want a reading. Blind. Yeah, so what you do, BB, if you haven't done this before, I think you have. I'm sure I've seen you here before. You do the super chat and it comes here. It lights up the screen. If it's like $9.99, it'll show up bright yellow. Okay? All right, Rhonda, let's get back to you. Thank you, Autism. Thank you, Cote. Gregory, you're up next. BB, 1999. Wow, you're very, very kind. Woo! I'm blushing. Okay, that's it. No more readings, people. That's it for tonight. B. I know you said you need a reading. We can put the questions on that in a little while. But for the now, let's get on with Rhonda. All right, Rhonda, what's going on here? I don't know. I don't have a freaking clue what's going on. But in some ways, sometimes it's better not to know. Sometimes it's all about the journey. It's all about the adventure. It's all about the wonders. Like anything and everything could happen. This could be a total freaking disaster, but you might have a lot of fun on the way. It might be extremely painful, but you might learn a lot on the way. Oh no, oh no, oh no! Let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Okay, so with the Page of Cups here, my feeling is that there's a high degree of innocence, okay, for you, Rhonda. And the reason that you're asking, that you're even here at all, wait a minute, hold on, just something. This is your first one. You've never had, what? Is that true, Rhonda? You've never had a tarot reading before? Let me just check something here. Hold on, where are you? I need one general run. No, this is my first one. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'll try and be really, really I'll be gentle. I'll be gentle. Okay, Rhonda? Woo. Okay. So, all right. All right, Rhonda. So you've got the Page of Cups here. My feeling is that there's a very high degree of innocence going forward. And it's very, very, very good idea that you came to this show and that you got yourself a little mini reading, because this is probably exactly what you need to know right now. And it's already looking to me that what you need to know right now is that anything could happen right now. And a lot of that is because you are sweetly innocent. Very, very, doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're like a swimsuit, Sports Illustrated cover girl, or whether you're like, what's the word, the other word, big and bold, or whatever it is. I'm trying to be polite here, but it looks to me like for you, Rhonda, it kind of doesn't matter. The issue is love. What is this thing? What is this thing we called love? What is this thing where I love you, you love me? What exactly is supposed to happen here? Who makes the first move here? I know I only want the best, but I'm not even sure what defines the best. How do you define the best thing in love? And sometimes the only way you can find out is by going deep diving into the world of love, where you basically learn by experience. And so if we're honest here, let's just say that it doesn't matter how old you are, your age, there's a high degree of innocence when it comes to the matters of love and relationship, and that's perfectly fine. All of us have been here at some point in our lives, in our multiple past lives, in our future lives, and today, right now. At some point, all of us were innocent. And then at some point, you have to make the decision, okay, I'm just going to jump in and do it. I don't know what it means. And what I was trying to say over here is that without saying it directly to your face, there's every possibility that you could have something really painful happen, just as it's just as possible for you to have something absolutely delicious and wonderful to happen. But it can't happen unless you make the decision to jump in and be willing to expose yourself to what happens in love. Okay? So what's it all about? What does it mean? What is love? What does it mean when Terra Illumination says, be loving, be loved? Are we talking about something platonic? Are we talking about sexual and physical and romantic? Are we talking about making babies and marriage and home and family and all of that thing? What does it all mean? And so it's different for everybody. So it looks like there's a lot of open-ended like questions here, because you're not sure what's going on. My feeling is they probably don't know what's going on either, and there might be a high degree of innocence on their side as well. Now, what's the challenge here? Oh gosh, this makes it even stronger. My feeling here is that in some ways you're quite vulnerable, and if you don't know it now, then you need to know it now. Okay? If you happen to be one of these very pure people and you are born and raised in love, you had parental figures who love you, who loved you, and you love your parental figures, and almost to the point where all you've ever known is love, and yet when you step out into the world of love, outside of the womb, the original womb of love in which you might have been born, then it looks to me like you're potentially highly innocent, highly vulnerable, and you get to this point like, oh my God, it's actually almost a curse. Like if you were born to people who were very loving, and you happen to be a very loving person yourself, that's a very beautiful thing, but you end up with these very serious questions like, well, what exactly am I supposed to do with that? And sometimes it's very hard to know without actually jumping into the swimming pool. Okay, so if you think of, if you think of love relationships as we grow through life, you might have more and more experience, but it's at some point, as a physical human being, no matter how you were raised, for example, if you were raised in a very loving environment, okay, so that's fine. That might be templating you to be a very loving person so that you can be very loving and very loved in return, but it can also leave you extremely innocent and vulnerable to all the abuses that happen in relationships. So my feeling here with the Queen of Cups is that to me, it feels like you're quite vulnerable, like you're someone who has a lot of love to offer, and you deserve a lot of love to be received towards you. But on the other hand, like, how do we do that? How does that actually work in 3D? It's great talking about it here, Tarot Illumination, in like a tarot reading, but how does that work in 3D? I've got this fellow over here, and you're the Scorpio, he's the Sagittarius, like, what does this actually look like for us? Okay, so to me it feels like there's a huge amount of question marks over there, and so it's a really good idea that you came in and got a reading, because the reading is actually saying there's a lot of questions going on here. So to me it feels like one of the biggest questions is like, my God, what if I do commit to love in this relationship? What about if this other person commits to me in this relationship with love? What is it actually going to look like? Is it something like, oh God, this is going to sound really weird, Rhonda. It's like this sounds almost like a cooking class. Okay, like, oh God, this is going to sound awful. Oh, I'm just going to do it. Like, hello, my name's Rhonda M. I just signed up for cooking class. I want to learn how to be a good girlfriend, a good wife, a good partner, like, whatever they call it, home economics person or something like that. what am I supposed to do with a steak? How do I make a really good steak so my loved one just doesn't go, oh, that's a steak, okay. They kind of go, wow, that's the best freaking steak I've ever had. How did you do that? I freaking love you. Like, how do I make a really good casserole? How am I supposed to, like, how do I create the most beautiful, seductive environment so that I have the most loving relationship? Home romance classes, things like that. To me, it feels like there's a lot of innocence going on here and a lot of desire to learn about what to do with your own personal capacity to offer love. You don't want to squander that. I mean, you might end up like in a cooking class, like you might end up burning a few steaks. You might end up putting too much mayonnaise in the sauce, or you might end up, making like an omelet that turned into just a freaking mess. But you don't know unless you actually have the courage to ask the really tough questions and go into the environment where the questions can be answered. Okay, so that's what I think is kind of going on here. I think your intentions are very loving and very good, and you want the best, but there's a high degree of innocence, and I don't think it's like you're terrified of getting burned. It's more like, how can I be the most loving person I can be in a relationship? For example, with this Sagittarian person. Okay, it's almost, God, this sounds awful. It's almost like going to cooking class. Like, oh, what do we do now? How do we handle this? Okay, so with the Temperance card here, my feeling is that you might want to look at this. Is a lot of love energy here, okay, Rhonda? I don't know if you are one of these people like you were born and raised in love, or you're just saturated and swimming in it and you kind of don't know what to do with it. What does it mean? And with the Temperance card here, this is a very powerful card of like being an instrument of the healing power of love. And so it might be, okay, God, I can't help going back to this analogy with the cooking class. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, sorry. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. It's like cooking class. And I have not really been to really any serious cooking classes. I've had to do that myself, but I've enjoyed a lot of cooking and sharing with cooking with other people. Sometimes you don't know until you actually just commit to this. I need to learn what to do. I need to know how to do it. So I'm just going to dive in. I'm just going to do it. And then you start to realize by committing your loving energy in the context of relationships, you might want to consider, like, if you're just one of these people who has like an overabundance of love, like so much love you don't actually know what to do with it. It's like a problem, like it's like being born like a trust fund baby, or like for $50 million. It's actually a freaking problem. Like, with all this, it's a serious issue. And so my feeling here is that for you personally, like, the Temperance card is more of an indication. Well, it's like, hey, Rhonda, you can either think of it as like you got lucky. You either got very lucky or you got very unlucky. However you look at it, you got very lucky in that you have so much love energy that you can share that it's like you become an instrument of the healing power of love. Your presence in love and relationship is much more about the healing process, the healing energy that you provide to another person, rather than like if this is a romantic hookup. Are we going to get married and have babies? Who's going to have the biggest income? Who's got the cool job? Who's going to stay at home and take care of the trash and clean the yard or whatever? So my feeling here is with the Temperance card, it's just like, whether you know it now, eventually I think you're going to find out that for you, love, the process of loving and being loved, is going to be very closely aligned with healing in some way, where When you meet people in your life, when people come to you for love, or when you are drawn to someone through love, it's in order for you ultimately to be and act and live by example as an ambassador of the healing power of love. So in other words, it's almost like being a healer, being an ambassador of the healing power of love is more important than the relationship itself. I know that sounds awful. I'm not just telling you that you have to go out and be like a saint and you have to go and save everybody and heal everybody that falls in love with you or everybody that you fall in love with. You don't have to go around saving broken people. All I'm suggesting is that for you, in the energy dynamics of love and relationship, it's very much about the healing. You can bring healing to another person. You can bring healing to other people. And in return, you might experience the reward of being healed yourself. I'm not sensing that you're a deeply fractured, tortured, wounded person, but what I'm sensing is that you have a massive surplus, overabundance of love, that your problem is what to do with it. It's like being a trust fund baby. It's like being an heiress where you just get, wow, I've got all this, like, what the bleep am I supposed to do with all this? And it becomes like, okay, it's really about the healing. It's not about hooking up. It's not about the drama. It's about the healing, okay? The Temperance card is very much to do with healing, okay? So I hope that made sense in some way or another, okay? Okay? Gosh, I hope so. All right, let me do this here. So that was kind of a strange reading. I hope it made sense to you. It might be kind of a calling for you, and maybe like you might need more definition so that you don't just get bled dry from just giving away all the love power, all the love energy, so that you can have a love life yourself, okay? So that things are more in harmony and more in balance, so that you don't always have to be the lover. You don't always have to be the one who's giving love. You are going to have to learn at some point that you deserve to receive love as well, okay? Okay? It has to be a balanced and fair thing. Sometimes it's very, very hard to call it out. If there is an disharmony or an imbalance in love and relationship, sometimes people don't want to call it out for fear of exposing the flaws in the love relationship. But it's very important that you do that. All right, Gregory, I hope you're still here. I think I probably better check back with some notes. Thank you, Cote, for your donation. Thank you, Autism, for your donation. BB, you're going to be the reading after Gregory. So we've got 2 more readings tonight, okay? It's going to be Mr. Gregory Ross and then BB over here. Okay? Let's have a look. Oh, kids have arrived for Cote. Good night, everyone. Good night, Cote. I hope you have a super evening. I'm sure you'll keep it together. We'll follow up soon. Don't you worry. Look at the message there from Autism Guru. Look at that one. Autism Guru, you totally got it. That's what it's all about on this channel. Go Autism Guru. Ah, freaking awesome. Oops, excuse me, I didn't see that. You didn't see that. Got a little bit of bend in the card. Yeah, so autism, that's one of the things we do here on Tarot Illumination. We keep going over the same thing again and again and again. Love thyself. It can be the hardest thing to do, especially if you're a compassion junkie, especially if you're a caregiver of any kind, okay? especially if you are a healer of any kind. It's really, really important to set aside time, energy, resources to yourself so that you can love thyself, okay? Otherwise, you just end up depleted. You literally just burn yourself out. It's not allowed, okay? All right, Gregory, let's have a look, see what's going on. I just got to check back on the screen, see if there was any notes from Mr. Ross. Let me just check over here. Give me a second, people. I'm going to zoom back through the chat way, way, way back. I think Gregory came in really early. Hey, let's have a look. I'm going back, going. Okay, it's blank, so we're going to go blank. We're going to go totally blind. All right, this is it. So we've done this before, Gregory. Anything and everything can happen. All right, okay. Oh, you know what? I just wanted to say thank you, about something over here. Just wanted to say thank you. I'm borrowing the imagery here tonight from, I believe it's this person called Deb Schmidt. She doesn't know I have it, but it was free and available online. But it's a lovely image. I just want to acknowledge and thank her. Okay? Thanks, Deb. All right, Mr. Ross, let's have a look. By the way, I don't know if any of you have ever read the description box underneath the Tarot Illumination videos. There's the links like membership, donation, subscribe to the newsletter, personal meeting room, the links to the songs and all that. But if you keep going down, actually if you go, it's actually the description box on the channel, there's a disclaimer. And in the disclaimer, I make it very clear that, as far as the public, as far as the channel is concerned, these readings are for entertainment purposes only. And that's my disclaimer. That's my get out of trouble card, because I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. You still have to make your decisions. We're basically having fun here, and I'm sharing what I can with you, and you're sharing what you can with me. And I love doing this. But it's like those people who the thousands of people online who offer these like stock market trading tips. All you have to do is blah, 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 and I'll show you how to get rich, blah, blah, blah. But they always have to have a disclaimer underneath, and it says, by the way, speculation and stock trading is highly volatile, and you could lose everything. So we don't do that here. Even though I have a disclaimer on the channel, I'm actually truly doing my best to help you guys, okay? Yeah. Thank you, BB. Okay. Thank you, Autism. Autism says, I read my own cards. This is purely entertainment. Yay. Thank you. I think Tarot Illumination should be on TV. I think somebody should invite me on a big major network TV show that has integrity. And then we would do this live on a TV show. That would be freaking awesome. All right, Mr. Ross, let's have a look. Mr. Ross, Gregory, if you're not here and you had to go to bed early, that's okay. You'll still get your reading anyway. If you're here, you're welcome to check in, but I'm going to go totally blind. Here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And now we're going to look at the weather. Okay. Again, it's the same thing. Deep inside of me, I am going to be referencing this energy here, the Leo energy for Leo season. Okay, but who knows? We'll see what actually comes up. Okay, with the Seven of Swords here, my feeling is that at this very moment in time for this reading, it's very, very important to know that it's almost like situations and circumstances here are very, almost like slippery. Like, it's really important that you're very, very, very careful about what you say, how you say it, who you say it to, when you say it, where you say it, who, what, when, why, where, and how. Okay, those 6 questions. Who, what, when, why, where, how. Okay? Regarding your communications with significant people in your life, whether it's relationships, business, or anything. And also, at the same time, I'm seeing 2 readings out of the same card. My feeling is to be extremely careful about reading between the lines of any communications that are shared with you and to you by certain significant others. Again, it could be personal, it could be business. So I think this is much to do with the retrogrades that are happening in the planets right now, especially towards the later end of August. We're going to have 5 retrogrades. Let me see if I can find all that, show you. Okay. Towards the end of August, towards the end of the Leo season, we've got this massive wall of retrogrades right here. And to me, that's an indication that there's going to be a lot of push me, pull you, back and forth, in terms of things like negotiations, communications, move forward, 10 steps forward, 9 steps back, 10 forward, 9 back, just to get to 2 steps forward, okay? So I think there's a lot of that going on, and my feeling is that like in your world, communications are extremely important. The spoken word, the written word, everything, every tiny detail counts right now. It's very, very important that you are very astute and mindful of all the intricacies of all the communications that you're putting out right now, and that you make sure you have full understanding of all the communications that you're receiving right now, so that you are not a victim. And do whatever you have to do to prevail, and don't apologize for it. Just, you're going to have to be very stealthy, you're going to have to be very shrewd, and you might be dealing with people who have hidden agendas that you need to be aware of, so that you are not a victim of other people's hidden agendas. Okay? Thank you, Autism Guru. You're very kind. And you're very cheeky. All right, Gregory, let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Okay, so let's just say things are a bit of a roller coaster right now. It's very, very hard to pin things down, as opposed to like like that energy when you're on a roller coaster. I don't know if you've ever been on these big, huge roller coasters where it's a total mind warp, total mind trip, where you're going up and down, and you start to think like, my God, am I actually going to go into outer space? Am I going to actually float away from the roller coaster carriage? And then when you're coming down on the swings on the other side, am I going to get squashed and crushed? Am I going to fly off to the side? It's just like whoosh, type of energy here. And hold on, give me a second. I got a feeling here. Give me a second. So with the Wheel of Fortune here, my feeling is that, number one, you're aware that you asked for this. You are aware that you have fully immersed yourself on this roller coaster ride that is happening right now. So you can't undo that. You're on the roller coaster. You know it's going to go up. You know it's going to go down. You know that at any point in time, something could come at you from the side, here, or there, that could, let's say, make you feel as though you're going to fall off the roller coaster. But that's part of the thing about roller coasters. They are designed to scare you. And a lot of people spend a lot of money to be scared. When Bef- Before the CCP virus, people would pay a lot of money to go to amusement parks so they could be scared out of their minds. But it's exciting, it's fun, because when you go onto these roller coasters, you already know that they're designed to take you to the limits, and yet you'll still be okay. So it's a lesson in fear, how to manage fear, how to understand fear, how to live in an environment of intense fear, and yet knowing on the other side, wow, I'm going to be just fine. But you have to know that going in. So my feeling is, like, at the first stages of this reading, it's important for me to say to you, like, you're going to be fine. We already know that. But you have chosen to go on to this ride knowing that you're going to be taken to the extremes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And it could scare you now and again. And you might scare people now and again, okay? But it's going to happen anyway. So, this might be to do with personal things, or it might be to do with your business life. And you might be a little perturbed because, like, wow, there's so much at stake over which I have absolutely no control. I don't really like that. But on the other hand, this is what you signed up for. And so, since it's what you signed up for, you have to be very acutely aware, extremely acutely alert, and just remember, you're going to be okay, but you still have to be very alert. Okay, what's the problem here? Okay, to me it looks like there's, like, I would say, episodic moments, up and down episodes of wondering whether you're going to be okay, whether you actually have the stomach for this, whether you're actually going to be able to, let's say, operate at the very highest frequencies of integrity and spiritual, let's say, devotion to things like truth, honesty, justice, and respect. Or are you going to end up being sucked into the world of, like, drama and egos and wars between yourself and perhaps some opponents, or, like, whatever stressful element appears to come at you from the roller coaster of life? There would be this extreme self-doubt of whether you can actually handle it or not. But again, that's just natural fear. It's the fear of being on a really big, high-powered, amazing roller coaster. Like, oh my God, what happens if I'm on the news because this is one of the very rare occasions where the roller coaster actually falls apart? Oh no! Okay, so that's the kind of fear I'm feeling here. But overall, what I'm feeling is that this is more about, it's like, God, why am I doing this? Like, why do I have to be such a freaking hero? Why have I deliberately put myself in this situation where I am actually on a roller coaster of life, knowing I'm going to be up and down, knowing one minute I'm going to be terrified, next minute knowing I'm going to be highly respected and appreciated? Like, did I really sign up for this? Do I really want to do this at all? Like, what's the point? Okay? Am I trying to, is this for my own spiritual advancement, or am I trying to save people? Again, what's the point? Okay, how are we going to deal with that? Okay, so the Empress card is here. It's a very powerful card of fertility, abundance, beauty, lusciousness, and unapologetic acceptance of your own wonderful self. Okay? So my feeling here is like if you are, like, really disturbed or perturbed about what's happening in your life right now with either personal or business, and you're wondering, like, deep down, what is the point of this? Am I supposed to be growing from this as a person, as a spiritual evolution thing? Or am I some kind of, like, hero figure that has to be extremely stealthy and capable to survive and come out the other side, so I can really truly achieve the spiritual goals and outcomes that I'm here to do, especially to help other people? I don't know. Okay? And so going forward, my feeling is to understand from outside of you. What I'm sensing is that this energy is a bit like kind of outside of you, where whether you like it or know it or not, there are certain people in your world or representatives of people in your world, of bodies of people in your world, who really, really think you're awesome, and they really think that you're like literally God's gift, and you are the embodiment of the physical manifestation of doing what has to be done, and providing an opportunity, a situation, an environment where growth and fertility and goodness can actually occur. It might not happen right now, but this is like the earth goddess, the earth mother. To me, it feels like you're on a chosen path that's like a roller coaster, where you can't jump out of the roller coaster. You're on it, so you're going to have to go for it. So the only way to go for it is to continue to stay on board, knowing that you're going to have to be extremely careful, extremely astute, watching all your paperwork, your communications, your phone calls, everything very, very carefully, knowing that at any moment, if you're not careful, you could fly out of the side of the roller coaster, or something could whack your head as you went around a corner in a roller coaster. And then all of a sudden it takes meaning, and the meaning and the purpose is that you're here for a reason. You're here to be kind of, to me it feels like to be a hero, and show others that they have a chance to experience, I would say, goodness, fruitfulness, fertility, abundance in their lives. And you have to do it by example, which means having to be very courageous and do some very, let's say, super high risk things where you are deliberately placing yourself in high risk situations for your own spiritual evolution, which is like to me it's almost like a collateral side effect of the real purpose, which is to give others a chance to have a taste of abundance that they could not have if it was not for you in their lives. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you, Gregory. Take care. Thank you very, very much. We're going to move on now directly to BB. Cote, thank you. Autism, double, triple, quadruple, thank you very, very much. Hello, Westside Watcher. Good evening. Everybody needs to know Westside Watcher is an honorary member of the Terra Lumination Love Tribe outside of the Patreon membership thing. If anybody here wants to, you can become a member. I would invite you to become a member. You can check the links below the video about how to become a member. Please subscribe to the Terra Lumination newsletter. That really helps me to reach the most people possible, because it's very hard through my channel right now because of the way the channel works with YouTube. It's like on an extremely tight funnel, and so that's why I've been branching out into the constant contact, direct email world. So please, I would invite you, all of you, anyone here tonight who is not directly subscribed to the Terra Lumination newsletter, please do so. Subscribe below. If you're not a member, please become a member. It really, really helps. And it gives me a chance to keep the channel going. Otherwise, we're operating on a shoestring. I don't like admitting it, but kind of are. So all of it's appreciated. Thank you, Cote. Thank you, Autism Guru. It all helps. Money talks. Seriously, people. So the point that I was trying to get at is Westside Watcher is a very kind and generous supporter, donor of the Tarot Illumination thing, but she does it outside of the Patreon. But I just wanted to say thank you, West Side. Okay? It's just her preferences. She likes the anonymity. I understand it. Even though I'm kind of outing you here, I just wanted to say thank you in public because we've had a very kind, generous crowd here tonight. All right. Anyway, BB. I'm going to have to check back through the notes to see if there were anything written on there regarding the subject of this reading. In other words, actually, give me a second. Let me just do a quick scroll back here. Let's see if I missed something. BB. There's Autism's donation. Thank you. I see that. There's BB. No notes. There's no notes. Okay, so BB, as you know, I love to do blind readings. But you said you really desperately needed a reading. Now, if you want to, I haven't done that all evening, but if you want to, BB, fill in the blanks. Dear Tarot Illumination, for example. Dear Tarot Illumination. Oh, you don't want, okay, you want a general. Okay, we're just going to go, okay, I'll do it. I get it. I understand. We're going to go big and wide. No problem. I like it when people go big and wide because it gives me the biggest opportunity to be the best that I can be, and I'm not being squashed into the confines of a specific subject matter of a reading. I'm perfectly okay to do that, but I personally have a lot of fun doing general readings, doing a total blind reading. I just love it. I just love it. I outed you, West Side. It's okay. Okay, BB, we're going to go totally wild here. So anything and everything can happen. You know that? That's what we're going to do. So please, dear invisible friends here over in the world of Tarot Illumination, gather round. Dear interns for the angels, they're over here. This is going to sound a little bit strange, but in my particular world, I feel very blessed to have a whole bunch of invisible friends. I don't really call them archangels or angels. They are more literally like friends, like physical human friends, but they are in the angelic realm, okay? That's the best way to describe it. And in their world, there's a strong energy of healing, the strong energy of the healing power of love. Heal thyself, Tarot Illumination. Heal others, Tarot Illumination, and so on. And on top of that, I'm very lucky to have a really awesome team of guardian angels. And on top of that, again, there is another group. It's 7. There are a group of 7 individuals. They happen to be all female. The way I describe them, they're all female. They are all what you would probably call teenagers. And each one of them represents a global ethnic group, like Caucasian, Muslim, Hispanic, Black, and so on, to cover the whole of humanity. And they all have some of the characteristics of Malala. Have you ever heard of Malala? She's a very powerful force in the world of girl power. Anyway, and those 7 female energies, they operate like interns. They operate like interns to my invisible friends, my angels, my guardian angels, so that they can go through, I guess you could call it their internship, so that they can operate as full-on angelic beings. So I'm very, very fortunate, and I'm asking them to join us tonight. They're all here anyway, but it sometimes works better when you do it by open invitation and you say their names. So my invisible friends, my guardians, and the interns of my invisible friends. I invite you all to be here. I'm so happy that you're in my life. I love sharing what I can with others. And I invite you, BB, to come and sit at the table here with Tarot Illumination and bring everything that you've got. Bring in all your invisible friends too, okay? Because they are there. They might be archangels, that might be archangels, whatever they are, however you want to describe them, they are there. So let's make the most of it, okay? A little bit more. I just need a little bit more. No jumpers, no flyers, no reversals. I'm not doing any oracles. I just love the cards the way they're made by the original artists. And that's good enough for me. In other words, if you had a beautiful masterpiece at your house and it was your prized possession, would you hang it on the wall upside down? I know I wouldn't. And I don't, so I don't. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, BB, what's going on? Let's have a look. Let's be bold. Let's be brave. Got it. Okay. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And we're going to have a look at the weather too for you. Same thing again. I'm going to, from my perspective personally, I'm going to be referencing this energy here. You don't have to know what any of this means, but I use this as a reference. Okay? Let's have a look. Okay, we've got the moon card here. So my feeling here is that if you are living in a situation, BB, in your life, in your world, where from a very physical perspective, you are kind of living in fear. In other words, every time you turn on the news, everything you watch online, everything you hear from your friends and family, there's always something creepy, scary, disturbing going on. My feeling is that would be understandable because of this. There's a tremendous pressure here on the Capricorn Cancer axis right now across the whole planet Earth. Okay, all this energy here. We just had the Capricorn moon, and now we're in an Aquarius moon. So this energy here is very active right now. From the Tarot Illumination perspective, we're dealing with a very powerful Capricorn Cancer opposition, which just happens to match exactly, almost to the degree, with the natural birth chart of the United States of America, which is born with Pluto in Capricorn 27 and Mercury in Capricorn at 24. So this axis here is very much to do, I feel like, with the stability, the foundations, the structure of the United States itself, which is coming under extreme external pressure. Okay? Think of it as, political hostilities. America in deep contrast with China, and so on and so on and so on. So my feeling is that, BB, you might be, I have a little bit of this myself. I'm just going to confess to you, BB. There are things going on in the planet right now. I see things in the charts right now that are energies of the collective. Okay, the mass of humanity. When I look at the charts, I can see and understand exactly why humanity is in the situation and the condition it is, the way it is right now here today. It's inevitable. It's just a consequence of decisions. We have created this for ourselves. We have populated ourselves to this level, 7.5 billion people. We have some amazing gifts and talents and amazing things that we do and live and enjoy here as human beings, but we also have some very despicable, shameful, terrifying, ugly sides to it, all of it. So what I'm sensing here is that you, BB, you might be one of these people, you are picking up on the collective. Like the collective fear, the collective chaos, the collective wonders, the collective energy of all the wonders of evolution, adaptation, change, and growth. That usually happens through massive convulsive events. Like in the Weather Channel, for example, it would be things like volcanoes, fires, earthquakes, tornadoes, floods. That's what's happening right now. And my feeling is that when I see this card, let's go back. What I'm sensing here is that BB, whether you like it or know it or not, you are highly susceptible to the collective. It might be, you might be one of these people, maybe you're reading too much news or watching too much stuff online or something, and it's like you become, let's say, traumatized because of the extremely challenging energies and aspects of that's going on in the collective right now. And that might be happening in a very unconscious way. This is a very lunar energy. It's sort of a very like primitive, primal energy of the limbic system. So if you are living in fear, if your whole life is basically radiating fear right now, like I'm basically scared, like what's happening on earth right now, what's happening with America, what's happening with politics, finances, social this, social justice, that, fairness, like the Constitution, whatever it is, you might be, well, I don't think it's might, I think what's happening is you're picking up on the collective energy as though it's your own. Okay. And you're, what you just said, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm actually sitting outside looking at the moon that happens to be in my sun sign. Ooh, okay. Moon in Aquarius. So are you saying that you're an Aquarius sun sign? Okay. All right, let's have a look here. What's the situation itself? Okay. To me, it feels like the reality check police are very much front and center in your life, in your world right now. So I'm going to go back to the astrology. Over here, this is what I sense as the reality check police. A couple days ago, we had the moon in Capricorn. It was a very intense period. And now the moon is over here in Aquarius. And so with the Two of Pentacles here, this is very much about finding harmony and balance in reality, in the world of reality, perhaps, balancing your checkbook, balancing your finances, figuring out everything that's unstable about your life, trying to discover anything and everything, the truth, the reality of anything and everything that's unstable about your life, and then figuring out how am I going to stabilize in an environment of extreme instability. So, again, I feel this is very much to do with the collective energy. So, oh gosh, hold on. Let's just keep going. All right. Okay, so let's get back to the personal level. Let's get away from the collective. So with the Two of Pentacles here, you might be in a situation right now where you are in not in a bind, but you feel it like you might be feeling like you're very, very heavily squeezed into circumstances where you're going to really have to seriously figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Where am I going to do it? With whom am I going to do it? And when am I going to do it? And why am I going to do it? And that's with your time, your resources, your energy, your talents, your gifts. And how much energy are you putting out? And how much energy is being rewarded back to you? What is the equation here? Are you expending too much energy with little reward? Are you spending too much time on things that don't work? Are you actually doing okay and then figuring out, how am I going to make things even better? Okay, let's have a look. What's the problem here? Again, more pentacles. So with the Ten of Pentacles, I see this very much as a family card, like having it all, like the thing that everyone will wish they could have, especially in the United States: home, family, harmony, security, money in the bank, retirement accounts, your loved ones close to you, you and you're close to your loved ones, where everybody is appreciative of each other. You appreciate them, they appreciate you. And so my feeling is that there's a lot of issues about finance here, or wealth, or abundance, or material stability, material security in your life, in your world. Whether it's something simple like, oh my God, I got too much junk on my credit card, or how am I going to pay down the mortgage, or how am I going to deal with car payments, how am I going to deal with college payments, How am I going to make more money? How am I going to keep the money that I do have? How am I going to optimize my wealth? How am I going to find harmony and balance in my physical world when it comes to things like money, checkbooks, jobs, skills, talents, everything to do with the physical realities of life that would equate to your abundance. So to me it looks like there's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of doubt going on here. Like, well, what does that look like? I am BB. I do have gifts. I do have talents. I am lucky. I am fortunate. But the question is, what am I going to do with that? How am I going to find a way to get through all the challenges of the collective that's happening on Earth right now, and with friends and family and all the whole world, like, the lockdowns, the financial collapses, all of those things we talk about on other shows. How am I going to deal with that in such a way that I don't, like on the negative side, that I don't lose everything? On the other hand, you could say, how am I going to optimize it so I can make the best of the abundance that I do have already? Okay. Let's have a look. Over here. So we've got the Justice card. So give me a second. I'm probably going to have to get a top up. Yes, I am going to have to get a top up. So stay right there, BB. That's enough. Perfect. Okay, so when I see the Justice card here, my feeling is that it's a very strong message that you're going to have to do what has to be done, like in honesty with yourself. For example, if you know that you've got certain gifts and talents and resources that are sitting idle, if you know that you have debts or burdens or certain unhealthy aspects about your career, your finances, your income, the stability of your home and family and all of that has to be acknowledged. And then you have to be really honest with yourself and say, okay, well, this is how it is. Because the thing is, you can't figure out what has to be done until you have all the ingredients and elements of the equation in front of you. In other words, like a mathematical equation. You can't solve a mathematical equation if you don't know what the ingredients are of the mathematical equation. So with the Justice card here, my feeling is that what this reading is actually about is honesty and truth with yourself, looking at your world in a very, very neutral manner. In other words, this is just how it is. Okay, let's have a look at things. I have to figure things out. I have to find a way to make better use of my time, my energy, my skills, my talents, my resources, money, career, debts and liabilities, revenues, incomes, whatever it is, opportunities in business, because you can't afford to lose all this. To me, it looks like you do have plenty of assets, talents, and gifts and resources at hand, but it's highly vulnerable to loss if you don't figure out in a very, very neutral, professional, diligent manner how are you going to do that? How are you going to figure out, in other words, what are you going to do? Let's pretend this is like, this is not a judgment card, but to me it's very much about making really tough decisions based on facts, information, knowledge, and pure truth, clarity, and honesty. And it's just like a serious, really serious reality check. Okay, BB, so this is it. This is how it is. You do a full assessment, evaluation of your life, and you put it to your own invisible friends, and you ask your invisible friends to come back and talk to you and send a message to you like, hey, my dear invisible friends, my dear guardian angels, my dear loved ones from the great beyond, please help me and guide me to doing the right thing in the right moment at the right time for the right reasons, because to be honest, I'm struggling. Okay, I'm really struggling. There's a lot at stake here. I can't afford to lose this. I don't want to lose this. I'm terrified of losing this, and I don't really know what to do or how to do it yet. So I need help above and beyond from, I would say, your angels, okay, who only have your best interests at heart. And so it needs to be done in a very pure, impersonal way, so that you can receive another. Hold on, it's sort of like this. It's one of these other things I do here at Terra Illumination. It's like a slogan. Please bring to me that which is mine. Please take away from me that which is not mine. But it's in terms of bringing justice to your life, harmony and balance to your life. In other words, it's like praying to your angels, your guides, like, please help me to figure out what am I doing wrong, where am I doing it wrong, how am I doing it, why am I doing it wrong, and then show me how to fix it so I can do it right, and so I can optimize my talents, gifts, resources in a way that works, in a way that is in alignment with the highest good for myself, BB. Because if we can do that, that's what's best for me, which is what's best for my loved ones, which is what's best for the world around me, and which is what's best for the whole planet. So you kind of go in a big, big, big circle where this message really is all about how can you possibly, like, please, dear angels, dear guardians, please guide me to how I can be the best version of myself, which is the best version for my loved ones, which is the best version of the planet. So I am fully integrated with the planet. So I'm going back to the very beginning of the reading, where you can see that you have a reason to be here and why you're here. And you can understand that if you are one of these people who's really picking up on the collective energy as though it's your own energy, then it's not wasted, it's not futile. There is a reason for it. It's because you're supposed to see everything from the full perspective. You're supposed to see everything from the full collective, and then figure out what does that mean for you as the individual, so that you can live and operate in the collective without being a victim of the fear of the collective. So you can be rich, stable, and abundant by taking care of yourself, doing what has to be done, optimizing yourself. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right, so okay, I can't add too much more to this, BB, but what I'm feeling here is that you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay, but you might have never really thought about your life and your world from this kind of perspective before. But all I'm suggesting here is that you might want to look at it from the really big perspective that, oh, it's just so simple. It's such an easy thing to fall into. You are a victim of the collective fear, but you don't have to be. You can be aware of it and then figure out, well, how does this work for me? But it does require having to be really truthful with yourself, do the homework, and find your own inner harmony, your own inner balance. And that's the very best thing that you can do, number one, for yourself, which is best for your loved ones, which is best for your immediate environment, which is best for the world. Okay? Okay? I just saw your note there. Unreal. It's true. How? Okay, well, I don't have answers to how right now. These are the questions that you have to figure out and answer for yourself, okay? We can do follow-up readings, personal readings if you want, but right now, I can't really add anything more to this reading. I thank you so, so much. dear BB. Thank you very much for having the courage to be here and do this in the full light and exposure with everyone else here. Okay. All right, let's have a look. I'm going to say thank you. Thank you, Cote, for your donation. I'm sorry, Gregory, it didn't look like you're here, but you were going to get your reading anyway. I thank you, Autism Guru, for your super kind generosity. And all of you, your name was here. I'm going to put all this stuff away and we're going to wrap it up now. It's been a wonderful night. We've been going pretty much non-stop. Very few breaks for songs and things. A bunch of people had to come and go because they have lives to live, places to go, people to see, things to do. It's okay, I get it. I'm going to shuffle this up quickly to wrap it out. And then I ask you to say goodnight to each other, wish each other well for the week ahead. We're still deep into the Leo energy here. We're cresting at the full moon. And about 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a very powerful Leo new moon. Okay? Thank you, BB. I hope I get my island too. I don't actually need a whole island. I would be very happy to have a nice house in New Zealand right by the ocean. That is my dream. Okay? And I'll be there with my sweetheart, and she's there with me, and all of you would be invited. Because I'm really good at cooking. She's really good at cooking, and we both have this kind of nature where kind of we like to help others. Anyway. This is going to sound really weird, BB, but your reading has made me feel like I want to say something. I feel like one of these, like, you know, farm animal pet rescue places. I love it. And my sweetheart is a little bit like that herself. But instead of farm animals, we deal with human beings. I hope nobody gets offended by that, but that's kind of like, in a way, kind of how I am and how I feel. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I think I'm going to leave it like that before I get into any more trouble. It's going to be an interesting time, okay? So, bless you all. Have a super time. I'm going to start wrapping it up here. Let me just check on the stage again. I think we said goodnight to everybody on stage here. Let's have a look. I'll put everybody out. Okay, so we had wonderful donations from Autism Guru and Kote Monizaga. We did readings for BB. We did readings for Sir Gregory Ross. We did a reading for Rhonda M. And another reading we did for Path Traveler. We did a reading for Heather. And we did a reading for JS. So that was the show tonight. You guys are the stars of the show. Thank you all very much for being here. I look forward to meeting up again. I hope these readings helped you. It's been a wonderful time. Gur, Roar, Leo season. Yes. All right. So I'm going to gracefully bow out. I'm going to gracefully say thank you and good night. Okay. I have a lot of heavy filters on my channel. Okay, for language and things like that, and you know, it's screening so I can keep the channel really pristine so I don't make it worse than it is already. But I'm just going to do this. Okay? So BB, your notes just came up on the screen. They should be live right now. And you can probably recognize the so-called bad word. But anyway, thank you very much. You know, we'll do this again. Okay, we're going to do this again. I'm going to play a little Terra Lumination song. Terra Lumination tune. I'm going to play I Am Guided. Okay? This is a little Terra Lumination song I'm going to share with you.
I am guided, I am am protected, I am guided, I 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 am protected. When the light of hope it fades, when all faith is blown away, when all sense of trust goes down, when a smile turns into frown, when it feels there's no relief, nothing in which to believe, desperate in woe and grief, angels come reminding me, I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am guided, I am protected. Angels gather close to me, show me what I cannot see. Angels take me by the hand, lift me when I cannot stand. Angels lead me through the dark, soothe and tend a broken heart, laughing at the circumstance, crying while we sing and dance. I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am guided, I am protected.